to the Boston REIA. This is our January meeting. We do this every month, first Thursday of the month. I want to welcome all of our members and guests. Who is here for the first time? Hands to the camera if you're here for the first time. Awesome. Excellent. Nitzam, Jerry, Santiago, let's welcome you guys to the group. It's good to see you here. And Kelly, I'm going to make you a co-host. You already are a co-host. And Hannah, I'm going to make you a co-host as well. So as people are coming into the room, just bring them in.
Some questions.
Jerry, awesome. Let's take a very quick question. Go ahead. What is it? What is your question?
Yeah, is it okay if I record the meeting? Or
The video should be recorded already.
Yeah, you can record it. We'll send out a link in the next day or two. But yeah, if you can want to, that's fine. But there will be a recording with the screen going on too.
okay, so I hit the record button, but it says to ask for permission.
Yep, it's already recording.
Oh,
Already
okay.
recording. Yep. Awesome. Was that the question, Jerry?
Yeah, that was it.
Very good. Yeah, we'll send that recording out within a day or two. I'd say
All right.
immediately, but it takes a little time to download. So the liability notice, this is for your just awareness. Boston REIA assumes no liability or responsibility for outcome of any real estate transactions, decisions, or any other action that any Boston REIA member or visitor enter into as a result of attending any meeting, listening to any guest speaker, or talking to any Boston REIA member, guest, visitor, or persons. This works both in benefit to us and against us. So if you go out and make $1 million, I guess technically you couldn't give us credit for that. But also, if you lost $1 million, not our fault. You're still the investor. You're still making the decisions with your money. Hands to the camera, if you agree, you can make good decisions. You're not going to do anything that wouldn't be right for you and your business and your family. Awesome. Excellent. Then moving on. We're the largest trade association of real estate investors in the U.S. If you're not already a member of the REIA, then you're missing out on a lot of discounts, which we will talk about later. Here are some of our partners. Maybe you recognize a few of them. Hands to the camera if you recognize at least one of our partners. Yes, the big orange one. Awesome. Yeah, we have a partnership with Home Depot. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. Now, my suggestion, my encouragement is I'm a member of a lot of REIAs. Tampa REIA, Rhode Island REIA, LA REIA, Vegas REIA, Boston REIA, Rhode Island REIA. And I do it for the network. I do it for the relationships because I've made most of my money. Well, I made all of my money in relationships. In fact, there's not a single dollar that ever came to me that I already had. Does that make sense? None of the money that I have that I put in my bank account was already mine. I had to go and get it from somebody else. Awesome. So we understand that the money is in the relationships. To be the most active real estate investing community in New England is our number one goal. We're here because we're number one in deal flow, network, and education, as well as investor resources. Who has never been to the Boston REIA's website and checked out the resources there? Never been, never checked it out. Awesome. Excellent. For everybody who has, you already know there's a ton of information, there's a ton of training. All the videos that we do here get recorded and posted back out there. So if you watch something and you want to get that information, you can go to the website and we'll also email it to you at the end of the night. There's also an email list, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But we do have local partners who do things for us, like give you money. Hands to the camera if you'd like more money. There's a couple of you didn't put your hands up. Why are you on the call? Just wondering. In real estate, all we talk about is money. That's the whole point in being here. So if you want access to more money, we've got some vendors who do hard money, private money, traditional and commercial. Kelly, do we have any of our sponsors on right now who'd like to jump in and give a little Q&A?
Not currently, Walter, although one might pop in. You know
Awesome.
how they surprise us like that.
I do indeed. So our vendors are people we trust, we like, we've done business with them in the past. There are many people out there who will lend you money, but be very careful because some people are looking to get the property. So when you're borrowing money from an investor, be very careful with who you're borrowing from. And then there's the other side of people who like to do lawsuits. So make sure that the person you're borrowing money from is a legitimate lender. Hands to the camera if you commit to always double check, always check it on somebody before you borrow money. I know it's so tempting to just be like, oh, give me the money. They're giving it to me. It's crazy. If it seems too good to be true, double check with somebody else. We commit? Yes? All right. Very good. That's a bunch of smart investors already. Newsflash, get your copy now of the Boston REIA's monthly newsletter from the official Boston Real Estate Investors Association. Can we actually drop this in the chat? You go to www.bostonrealestateinvestorassociation.com and you can register. Just put in your email address and you're going to get connected to the deal flow. You're going to get connected to the recording from this training. And every so often we'll put out a notice if somebody's looking for something we like to share within the community. That's how money is made, through having a little bit of extra information and a network of people who are doing deals. Hands to the camera, if you are doing deals in 2022, commit to doing deals, then you might want to get on that newsletter and get some deal flow. Awesome. We were also social, so all of this training ends up back out on Facebook. What's nice about the community, I think it's over 2,000 members out on Facebook. So it's a lot of real estate investors in the Boston market. If you're looking to connect with potential partners, if you're looking to connect with people who do deals with you, this is the place to do it. Do it on Facebook, do it on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, but if you go on Facebook and ask questions, I will answer the questions on the Facebook page. And I know that some of the other real estate investors in our community will as well. We're also on YouTube, so you can watch these again there as you desire, as at your convenience. Who here is new to real estate investing, doesn't own something yet, but wants to, is looking to get something this year? Awesome. Let's give them a round of applause. You came to the right place. We're all buyers. We're all investors who want to buy real estate. Sarah Ibram is a real estate agent in the Boston market. Sarah, could just put your hand up so everybody sees where you're at. So if you don't have an agent and you're looking to pick up property this year, then Sarah is a great agent to work with. If you're a wholesaler, you might want to do what Sarah does. She finds a lot of off-market properties. So it's a very good strategy for wholesalers to learn from agents. They have been doing this professionally. Let us help you get started making money on your first deal. Join the Boston REIA tonight. If you don't know what's included in the Boston REIA, you get access to a ton of valuable content, information, events, and discounts. You get free entrance to our monthly events, which should be hopefully live again starting soon. And then you have entrance to our subgroup meetings. Every single Monday night at 5 p.m., we do the wholesaling boot camp. This is free to Boston REIA members only. In the Boston REIA, we want to teach you how to get those deals off market. Hands to the camera if you don't like to pay full price for anything. Yes. So I was just talking to Elvis. You can't shop on MLS. You got to go off market. You got to go find the deals off market. Nitzam's going to talk about the markets to choose tonight. He's going to talk about how to find those deals and how to choose your markets and identify them. You got to go off market. All the deals, the best deals. There's a saying in the syndication world, right? Nitzam, that LoopNet is where deals go to die.
That's right.
And that's not what we're looking for you to do. We want you to get money and cash flow. So you got to get into the groups to find those properties. And tonight you're on the right call to learn this process. Exclusive member benefits on the website, discounted workshops, and more. Hands to the camera if you know if this was free, you would jump in tomorrow. If this was already free, you'd just already be in. Well, it's not free. So we're going to charge you something. Because this is what I've learned, right? If they pay attention. If it's free, they don't use it. They don't go on it. Like who here has gotten those free tickets before and just never showed up? Yes? Anybody ever been given a book before that you never read? Or even worse, you give a book to your friends and they never read it? Yes? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, maybe? Hands to care if you've given that book to somebody at some point or somebody gave it to you. Awesome. Good people. Give yourselves a round of applause. Pay it forward. Pass that along. That book changed my life. Learn the sport. Be a player. Join tonight. If you're interested in learning about it, I will talk about it in a little bit more. But before we do that, I want to talk about the benefits of Home Depot. Who's been to Home Depot before? Or as tenants say, the place that they never have to go because their landlord covers everything. Sarah, do you want to take PowerPoint or you want me to just run it for you?
I can take the PowerPoint. I have my own here. Okay,
Let's give Sarah even a round of applause. She is our Home Depot specialist. She knows all about the ins and outs of how the deals work. And just so you know, I saved over $1,500 this year just from being a part of the Boston REIA on my Home Depot discount. That 2% adds up, especially if you're doing renovations.
Absolutely. Thank you, Walter.
You're welcome.
All right. Can you see my screen? I hope.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Just like Walter was just saying, Boston REIA members, they do get special discounts with Home Depot that we're going to go over right now. Basically, it's think of it as a rewards program. So just like CVS or Schwaz or any of these places, they offer you rewards. So the more you spend, the more you get. And Home Depot is just the same. However, there is a difference. If you just go to Home Depot, they will give you a different deal than if you go to them through us. So if you're a Boston REIA member, you actually get more discounts and more rebates than if you just were to go to Home Depot directly. Basically, their system is as follows. So they offer to our members 2% biannual rebate on all purchases made with a $5,000 minimum spend per period. So what does that mean? So they basically have two periods. It starts in January 1st. So we basically just started a new period, goes all the way to June 30th, and then it starts again in July 1st up until the end of the year, December 31st. So if you spend $5,000 within the 6 months, you get your 2%. This is the only reason to condition to qualify for the 2%. And how it works is that they mail you out
Which is the kind of thing that we will be remembering for a long time.
Home Depot gift card rebates.
More than stay on our
Gets mailed
democracy,
out
we
within 60
continue
days
to live through aftershocks
after
that are
the
actually
closing.
worse, and I think we've shown that and might
every
even seen.
Could
the
you
United
mute that
States.
person?
I'm working on it.
Okay. So basically you get the rebate in the form of a Home Depot gift card that gets mailed out to you within 60 days of the closing day of each period. So just make sure that your mailing address is updated with Home Depot. Also, all right, Boston REIA members, they start at the gold tier, and that qualify them for 20% of paint without meeting the rebate minimum. So even if you're just starting out and you don't have so many projects and you are not at the $5,000 yet, that is no problem. You can just go right away and start with the paint, and at the checkout you just get the 20% at the checkout. But if you were to spend $5,000, it gets accumulated the 2%, and then you get that after the closing period within 60 days after. And basically how it works is that to get this discount, you need to pay at the pin pad. Right before you pay, you just enter your phone number that is registered, and if you swipe your registered card, you get the 2%. So just once you enter your phone number, the system will recognize that you're a Home Depot, a Boston REIA Home Depot member, and then you get the 20% right away. And then if you pay with a registered card, that's when you get the 2% on top of it at the 60 days, after the closing, the end of the closing date of each period. And that actually is through that system, you can look up all of your track your purchases for up to 24 months. So it's fantastic. The 20% of paint is applicable to paint, stains, and primer of a gallon or more. Doesn't apply to quartz or spray. Also, Boston REIA members can get up to 20% off select Home Bay kitchen and bath cabinets if you purchase 10 or more in single transaction. And how it works is that you get 10% from us, from National REIA, and then 10% from Home Depot. And both of them are stackable with any other store discounts that's available there. Also, Home Depot offer another great way to save money is the volume pricing program, or bidroom, VPP. How it works is that if you have a list of items that will cost $1,500 or more in single transaction, bring this list to the Pro Desk, have them prepare a quote, and once they do that, just have them send it to the bidroom. Usually takes just a few minutes, and then it comes back with all the applied discounts. anywhere from 0 to 15%. So you get that, and then if you pay with a registered card, so you get anywhere from 0 to 15% at the checkout, and then you get the 2% if you pay with a registered card at the end of the closing period. The only thing that we wouldn't recommend that you send through the bedroom is paint, because you actually get more. You get the 20%, so it's more than even their maximum there. Basically, if all these didn't convince you enough, maybe numbers will. Just like Walter was saying, he got like $1,600 in one of the 6 months. So basically, Home Depot paid out to chapter members more than $500,000 with an average rebate per member almost $1,600. Walter got one of them. So what does that mean? In basically 6 months, you can buy several years of REIA memberships in just 6 months, in addition to all the other benefits that you can get, the meetings, the great things that you'll learn that you probably wouldn't learn anywhere else, the other people, the other, like Run Perfect and all the other great vendors that we're affiliated with. So call today. If you are a member, or if you'd like to become a member, please reach out to Kelly. That's her number. Call or text is great. Basically, she's going to help you out first, and then after that, she will schedule a good time with you, and then I can give you a call. It's very quick and simple process to create a rewards account. It's not a credit card by any means. It's just a rewards program. Basically, we do it on the Home Depot website. I could either help you, or I can just walk you through the steps. While I have you on the phone, and we can both have both our computers open at the same time. It's very simple, straightforward, and that's it, I guess. Good luck. Thank you so much.
Let's give Sarah a round of applause. Awesome. Who likes a good deal? Who likes a good opportunity? Yes, we all like to save money. Awesome, then you're in the right place. Get the screen back up. So I was talking about the Boston REIA. We have an amazing deal going. I've just got to be able to share my screen. This is for this month, for people who are with us this month. Actually, hold on. Before I tell you how much it costs, let me go back and show you what else is included in the Boston REIA. We have access to a ton of different partners. Home Depot is just one of them. But as you could grasp from the screen, where are your faces? Your face over here. We got access to Equity Trust, which is a program that I use to raise capital. Who here has ever said they wanted money? They want to raise capital? Well, there are actually tons of people who have money tied up in their 401ks. You may even be one of them. A lot of the people who we've raised capital from, we took the money from their 401k, put it through Equity Trust, and then they were able to lend it to us at 8 and 10% interest. Ask Karen if that would be a good, easy way to get the down payments on the next property. Hell yeah. Makes it a lot easier. So Equity Trust is a strategy. They're connected to the Boston REIA. Obviously, the deals at Rent Perfect, Build a Sign, Build Zone, Local Marketing, REI Pro. These are companies that you're getting a discount with for being Boston REIA members. Now, the membership is a lot more affordable than it should be. This is actually one of the more affordable memberships across the country. And the reason being is because it's all about education. We want to make sure that you're getting as much as possible each year. And so that money gets used in building the website, gets used in bringing in the speakers so that we can continue running this. Hands to Karen if you think that this is going to be a very valuable night tonight. You have no idea. It gets better. Just wait. It gets better. Before I joined the Boston REIA, I was just a normal investor. I owned like 22 units. But from the time that I joined the Boston REIA to now, I've raised over $1 million in the room, just from the network, just from relationships, just from talking to people. And I've bought over 50 units, 24 of which came from somebody who I met at the Boston REIA. Hands to the camera if you'd like to meet that person, have that conversation. You won't know unless you're a member, unless you show up, unless you have the conversations, unless you're in the trainings, the additional subgroups. That's where all the money is made, is in those relationships that you make. The only way to get access to that is to be a member. Our members get a lot of sweet benefits. And when you invest, you're paying it forward and allowing us to keep doing this. Hands to the camera if it's a good idea to invest in a company that's serving other people, in that investment in the community beyond just your education. It's going to help other people as well. Awesome. I agree with you. That's why I pay my subscription, which, by the way, I think mine is coming up. So Kelly, just send me. Who muted me? Duncan, did you mute me?
No, I accidentally did. I'm sorry. I was letting someone in and
Damn.
someone else clicked on it, so it came on you.
All is forgiven. So text Kelly, the number that you see in the chat and you see on your screen. It's 864-906-4111. Text her now and just say, hey, I'd like to be a member. How do I get in? If you're a couple, we give a super discount to couples, like people who invest together, stay together. For the most part, me and my ex-wife didn't stay together, but the thought was there. The concept was, let's do this together until we got to split it apart later. Hands to the camera if you know this is a good deal. What the Boston REIA is offering is an amazing deal. Yes, I agree with you. And at this point, we want to open it up to haves, needs, and wants. Again, the message for the text message for Kelly is 864-906-4111. Shoot her a text now. Just say Boston REIA, and she'll send you the information to get started as a member. For the haves and wants and needs, we're going to fill up the chat. You see that little chat on the bottom? Type in there what you're looking for. If you're a real estate agent, you're looking for clients, type that in. If you're an investor looking for deals, be very specific. Don't make the mistake of saying, I buy real estate in Boston. I've already forgotten you. If anybody types that, I'm sorry. But if you say, like we were just talking about earlier, if you said, I invest in Melrose, I'm looking to buy 3-bed, 2 baths in Melrose like Elvis, then that's something we can work off of. If you're, let's say Dedham, if you're in the Dedham market, like Ryan McDermott, Ryan's like, I'll buy 3 families to 6 families, right? Maybe 12 units now, right, Ryan? So cool story with Ryan. Actually, I got a slide. I want to bring you up, Ryan. So I'm glad you're here. So I met Ryan in the Boston REIA. He was in the middle of the room. He was sitting there with his elbows like this. He's like, no, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not, going to do anything. And then I said, bro, I'm going to teach you how to get a 20% discount and then a 20% discount, be in the property for 60% equity at the end of the day. And Ryan was like, where do I sign? Who knows that being in 60% equity is an amazing idea? Yes. That's why we do multifamily investment. That's why we got Nitzam tonight. He's going to give you some really cool tips on how you can get that taken care of. Me and Ryan have been a part of the Boston REIA for a long time. Love the trainings. Like I said, he and I are really good friends now. In fact, every week he and I jump in, we do mentorship for students. But I met him. He was a student in the room. He was just looking to learn. And within 3 months of working with me, he became a millionaire just because he took massive action. He did it himself. He took the action, but he had some good guidance. And now he's on this path to becoming a multimillionaire because real estate does that. It really does work. So let's give Ryan McDermott a round of applause. He's amazing. We love having him in the community.
Hey, just want to say to Walter and to really everybody else in the room, I kind of started off small with the real estate and, through the work, that I've, come into these REIA meetings and, connecting with Walter and being part of, his community. I have my first commercial grade property under contract. It's about 8 units. And it's that same, it's that 20% discount and we're going to make 20% improvements. This stuff works. You just got to work it. Thanks.
Let's give Ryan McDermott one more round of applause. And I didn't explain it. The other 20% comes from holding it for 4 years. 5% appreciation per year on average over the last 40 years. Look, there's a dip coming, of course, right? 2024, watch out. But at the end of the day, just hold through the dip if it cash flows, which it will. In fact, I just raised rents. Who'd like to know how much I raised rents this month? How much richer I am every month now? $12,000. I only have one partner. That's split between me and my partner. So each of us is making an extra $6,000 a month every month for as long as we hold these properties. It's only 50 units. It's not hard to do, but those 50 units are worth $1 million, right? Those 50 units made us multimillionaires because we paid $3 million for them over the 4 years that we've been a partnership. Hands to the camera if you'd like to have 70% equity in your properties. It's a simple process. Buy it off market, do a 20% renovation, and then hold for 4 years. And then the 11% extra, that comes from being a decent human being. Just be a decent human being. By the way, let's fill the chat while I'm talking. This is fill the chat with what you're looking for specifically in your market. You look for a lender, you look for property, you look for an agent, you look for a wholesaler, a contractor, a plumber. Let us know what you're looking for. Somebody on this call, there's over 60 people on the call. Somebody can help you out. So the decent human being discount, what is that? That comes from, wait for it, raising rents on my tenants. I just talked about it, right? I just raised $12,000 a month. That's an extra 140 grand a year that I get because I'm a decent human being and they're decent human beings. And we want to stay together in this relationship. And so because I've built good relationships with my tenants, they want to stay in. I'm not going way above market. I'm just going to market, right? I just told my tenants, like, look, we know, go try to find a place somewhere else. I don't mind, but I'd like to stay with you. And in order for me to make that work, I've got to raise rent. Hands to the camera if you'd be okay with raising rent once a year, just one time a year. You don't have to raise it every month on them. Awesome. Excellent. My mentor just raised rent $50,000 a month. He has 200 units. $50,000 a month. He's making now an extra $600,000 a year, and he has no partners. He owns these outright. His banks are just about paid off. He's 3 years from paying off his banks. He's been in it since the 90s, 96. He started buying real estate. 2002, he stopped buying real estate. So he 6 big years of buying real estate and then just maintenance. That's how multifamily works. Hands to the camera if you're interested. If I've piqued your interest, you're here tonight. You're staying. Awesome. Well, wait till we get to Nitzam. He's an amazing speaker. So the Boston REIA has a mentorship program. Now, before I talk about the mentorship program, and in fact, let me pull this off the screen for a second. Mentorship is kind of like Morpheus from The Matrix. Did anybody watch The Matrix? You see that movie? So Morpheus has a scene where Neo is sitting in the chair and he says, "What's the Matrix?" And Neo just kind of looks back and he says, "I got the blue pill and the red pill. The blue pill, you wake up in your bed and just imagine and believe whatever you want to believe. The red pill, I take you deeper down into Wonderland and show you how deep the rabbit hole really goes." I love this scene because Neo leans forward and he says, remember, all I'm offering is the truth. So, yeah, give me a round of applause. Awesome, Jerry. Great job, brother. You know the line. Mentorship is a lot like Morpheus. All it is like, you've heard of coaches. Who's heard of coaches? Who's heard of Tony Robbins? Yeah, mentorship is not that. Mentorship is do this or get out, right? Like this is, you come to a mentor and you ask, what should I do in order to get this goal? The mentor says this. Now go away, go and do it. And don't come back unless you've done it or you're coming back with a problem. You've tried to do what I've said and you came up with a problem. This way, you're getting fast results. The difference between a coach and a mentor, coach doesn't do it anymore, right? Coaches are the people on the sidelines telling the team, go do that, go, you should do this, you should do this. They can't play the game. Mentors are still playing the game. They're still owning real estate. They're still doing the deals. So mentors are busy people. Their time is extremely valuable. A coach has all day to sit on the phone with you and make you feel better about yourself. Hands to the camera if you've ever been in one of those situations. Ever hired a coach and they were like, yeah, you need me. You keep going, keep doing stuff. I play around with coaches. Look, I've got a lot of coaches myself because sometimes you do need to be driven. Sometimes you do need somebody to just hold you accountable to do shit. A mentor teaches you what to do, tells you how to get there. They do most of the talking. In a coaching situation, the coach does almost no talking, most of the listening. You do all the talking. In a mentorship situation, you come with a question. The coach does the talk. The mentor does the talking. You walk out and you take the action. Does that make sense? So here's the rule for hiring coaches. 3 coaches. I think you should need 1 for health, wealth, and relationships. mentors. You need one for your local market to identify what's going on in the properties, like how things work, what rents are. And then your out of state mentor, someone who's not where you live, because the out of state mentor is going to have no problem teaching you how to market, no problem teaching you how to raise capital, no problem teaching you how to find more deals and connect and build relationships, because it's not competing with them. Hence, if you understand, the mentor is still in business. So it makes sense to have a mentor locally and a mentor is out of state. This way, there's no problem with you getting all the information you need. And then the third one is a mastermind. And a mastermind is where you gather together people. A lot of the best masterminds I've been in, I've paid $25,000, $35,000 to be a part of, because I was in the room with millionaires. It's just cheating, right? It's how do I get to the top, right? Rod Khleif has a wonderful mastermind, $25,000, and you get in with all the people who are buying, 500 units a year, 1,000 units a year. So those are relationships worth getting into. But I've also been in amazing masterminds where it was just me and a couple of people, like right here in this REIA. There's a lot of people in here who would be willing to partner up and work together with you in the Dedham market, in Melrose, wherever they're at. Building a little bit of a local mastermind is an extremely valuable tool. Answer the camera if you recognize that you could do that. And you don't need much guidance other than, hey, what are you looking to do and work together? Try to serve each other. So the mentorship is designed to be accountability. It's designed to be direct, right knowledge. We have a whole online platform full of on-demand training. Promissory notes, things that you need to do deals, the names on deeds training, the get the money training, get the deal training. It's designed so that if you have a question, you don't have to ask me. You can just go online and check. But if you had a question I didn't have online, or you needed a question like that, I have another platform called Alchemist Nation, where you plug right in and you can message me, or Ryan McDermott's actually one of my coaches because he's also a financial planner and a millionaire. So I figured all my coaches, all my mentors are millionaires. Is that okay? You only want to learn from people who've done it. Yes. One of the rules, and we've had to make this decision before, because we had somebody who's really smart because they were a wholesaler, but they weren't a millionaire. So it's called the Millionaire Mentorship, right? Why would we have somebody teaching who's not done it yet? Doesn't make sense. It's unethical. So you want to learn from millionaires. Get the advice from people who have done it, people who are still holding their wealth. I know people who've made wealth and lost it. You don't want to learn from those people. You want to learn from the people who've made wealth and have held it. Hands to the camera if you understand. Who you learn from dictates the results you get. It's very true. So the mentorship used to be $1,200. Unfortunately, who's hearing this for the first time? Who's here for the first time? Unfortunately, we've made it even better. We've improved the mentorship, so now it's actually $2,000. It's no, I went in the opposite direction of what you normally get because it's more valuable now. We've increased the price, but we've also increased the services. We've increased the amount of mentors we brought in. We've increased the value of the people that we brought in. And we've also increased the size of our network. It's over 200 future millionaires and over 30 millionaires in the network. Raise capital in there just by making a single text, a single post. Find people to buy your deals by just dropping it right into the platform. Find people to go and do the deals for you. Who'd like to lend their money and just have somebody else do all the work? Who's in that side of the business? Yeah, you and me both. I don't like to do anything anymore. I just put the money to work for me, connect relationships. I know Sarah's laughing, but no, I am that lazy. That's why I built the business the way I built it. That's why I chose real estate. That's why I chose passive income. I didn't want to be a wholesaler. I didn't want to be a flipper. I wanted to retire. And after 4 years of my partnership with my business partner, 'cause my first 4 years I was with a spouse and I lost all that. Who's ever lost before? Who's ever broken up with somebody before and lost some things? Yeah. So I built back from it. It is possible, but I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. So the mentorship has all of the tools, access to connections, and then the most important thing, and this is the one that gets everybody. Who's heard of analysis paralysis? Analysis paralysis, familiar with it? Analysis paralysis is the inability to make a decision because of having too much information. Having too much information stops you from being able to pull the trigger on something that'd be a great deal. The mentorship is going to help you save $500,000 to $1 million every single year. Because right now you're not pulling the trigger on the deal that make you the most money. Does that make sense? Who knows they lost deals this year? Who knows? For sure, lost deals this year. Man, I don't even do the math anymore because it would piss me off how many deals I've lost. Or how many things I said no to because I didn't have somebody holding me accountable in the beginning. Now I have business partners. I have mastermind members. I have my own community, and my community holds me accountable to do big deals. Don't miss out on another deal. For $2,000, I'm covering you for an entire year. I'm giving you weekly calls. I'm giving you access to me personally so you can message me. I'm giving you the online training, and I'm giving you access to my network, my millionaires who are also like me, looking to lend and put their money to work. Or they're wholesalers and they're real estate agents and they're looking to get their deals off their hands. Or they're contractors for my fellow lenders. They're contractors who just want to do deals. They got access to deals, but they don't have access to the money. But they're good. They're solid people. One of the rules of the Alchemist Mentorship is this: do everything legally, morally, and ethically. Hands to the camera if you commit to doing your deals that way, legally, morally, and ethically. Awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for allowing me to share the product and the program. If you're interested, if you are interested, for sure, I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires this year. 100 millionaires who are inspired to help build 100 millionaires. So once you get yours, you got to go pay it forward, right? You got to at least share with somebody how you got there. If somebody asks you, it's your moral ethical duty to show them, hey, I just did it through real estate. I did a couple of deals. This is what it looked like. Hands to the camera if you'd be willing to have those conversations once you're a millionaire. Yes. All right. So the application process is simple. Go to gualtermurillo.com/mentor and apply. And apply with your credit card. It's $2,000 to get in. Simple enough? Awesome. I'll drop that in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I love talking. I could talk all day, but I've got somebody who is smarter than me, who has been in the business longer than me. And when I see somebody like that and I have an opportunity, I'm going to listen. Hands to the camera if you agree. It makes sense to listen to people who are smarter than you, who have more experience than you, who have more units and more money than you. Yes. So up next, I've got the great, the wonderful Nitzam Mosery. He was on my podcast a few months ago, and I learned so much from Nitzam, but I was super blessed to be down at an event where Rod Khleif was running it. I just happened to be walking by. I was with Mitch Jorsky, the guy who wrote the book, The Scaredy Cat Guide to Real Estate Investing. And we see Nitzam across the bar. And we worked our way over. So I got the most epic selfie live in person with Nitzam. So let's give me a round of applause. I'll take that. Hell yeah. And so Nitzam's going to talk to you today about one of the most important parts to real estate investing. Step one is find the deal, right? Find the deal. Without deals, you don't have money. It doesn't matter how many contractors you have. You need the deal. So you're going to learn how to find the deals, learn about emerging markets and multifamily investing with the great, the legend, Nitzam Mosery. Let's give him a round of applause. A good friend as well. Thank you, Nitzam.
Thank you, Gualter. Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me? Am I coming in clear? Awesome. Awesome. You know, it's amazing. I was fanning back because I can only see about 20 people per my screen. So I kept hitting the side buttons to look at everybody that's on this. I'm like, wow, I'm blown away. I was getting nervous. I was starting to sweat a little bit about everybody being on here and all the faces. But it's awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here to serve all of you and to educate all of you. Thank you so much. It's fantastic. And it's amazing what you're doing here with the group. You know, if I was everybody, if you guys haven't joined up for the mentorship program, definitely do so. He's not paying me to say this. I'm not getting a kickback or anything. You know, mentorship is where it's at. I had a mentor when I was 24 years old. I had mentors growing up. They were called my parents, and I was so grateful that they had the right mindset and they taught me correctly. You know, my father, my mother, you know, growing up, they used to tell me that there's two types of people in this world: those that pay rent and those that collect. And son, you better collect. That was kind of those were my first mentors. And then at the age of 24, I had another mentor that told me, he said, find somebody who has what you want, do what they did, and you'll get what they got. It's a very simple philosophy in life. You don't have to rewrite the game plan or the strategy and whatnot. Just go out there, find someone like Walter, like Ryan, who's doing the business, who's in there, who's in the trenches, who's learning and growing at the same time and doing deals so that they can share their experiences with you, so that that learning curve can be flattened out, and you don't have to hit those pitfalls that we have had to do it, right? And it'll take you that much further, that much quicker, right? So definitely, you know, that's amazing. And again, thank you for being here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and do me a favor, if anybody has any questions during the presentation or whatnot, hold them until I'm done, and then bombard me with questions. And you know what, we can even unmute you and we can have a conversation about it, about your questions and topics and what you have going on, and we can do that. I just want to run this by you guys really quickly and share with you some information. Let me see here. Okay, bear with me. I'm not the most technical person on the planet. I know real estate. I don't know technology. So, okay, come on. Why? There we go. Okay, we go there. View. I'm going to do my full screen. Awesome. So forgive me if I can't see you right now because I'm looking at my full screen. But before we get started into how to find the best market to invest in and all that stuff, I want to share with you, if you don't mind, a few minutes about who I am. Because sometimes we look at people who are presenting, people who've been in this business for a very long time, and we're like, oh, you know, they can do it, but I can't. They had the tools, and they had the technology, and they had the network, and they had the knowledge, and they had the education. I don't have what they have, so I can't do that. So I want to share with you where I came from. I'm the first generation American in my family. My family moved over from Israel, 1969. I'm not going to tell you when I was born. I was born 1970. Okay, so I'll be 52 in July. But my parents didn't speak English. My mother's a Holocaust survivor. She never graduated high school. My father was living in Israel at the time when the British mandate, no, I won't go into history, but he didn't graduate elementary school. So their whole thing was, you know, working for themselves. They came to this country to give their children a better life, to give us opportunities so that we can advance and we can be better than they are. I went and you know, growing up in New York City, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and Manhattan as well. So yeah, you know, kudos to that. But I was raised with the mentality of go to school, get an education, get a good job, go work for 40 some odd years, build somebody else's empire, and get a watch when you're 65 years old and retire. And then maybe 5 years, if you're lucky and your health sticks with you, you'll have 5 years to enjoy your life before you're stuck in a box and shoved in the ground. Now, remember, my parents were entrepreneurs, but they thought that, you know, education and go get security and all that was the way to do it. My father, I remember, God bless his soul, you know, he used to tell me, go become a lawyer. If you're an attorney, you can do whatever you want. You can buy real estate, you can do businesses, you can do all that. Okay, I went to college, I studied business law. I didn't have the ass for it. I didn't have the brain to sit and to study. It just didn't speak to me. So I went to college for 4 years, never graduated. I'm not a college graduate. When my father passed away, I was 25 years old. I was working with my brothers in New York. We had bought some office, there were sweatshop buildings in Soho and Chelsea at the time. We bought them out of foreclosure. We started renovating them and leasing them up. But, you know, New York is a tenant-friendly state. So we had a lot of issues with tenants and doing that. But when my father was 25, when I was 25, my father passed away. And that kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't know what life was all about. I was like, oh my God, you know, this guy worked since he was 7, 8 years old, came to this country, worked until the day he died, built something for his family. You know, I was working on Wall Street at the time. I was a stockbroker for one of the big corporations that doesn't exist anymore. I was in the Empire State Building. I was in the Twin Towers in the first attack when the bomb went off, when the van went off in the parking lot. So I was very lucky to still be here today. And, you know, my father passed away, threw me for a loop. I started drinking. I started partying. At one point, I woke up one morning. I looked in the mirror. I didn't recognize myself anymore. I had a big hole in my chest because I didn't know what life was all about. I thought that it was all about chasing money, 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 money. The the people that I was looking up to, family members and whatnot, all they taught me was, and what they told me was, run after the money, because if money's out the window, your love is out the window, your relationships are out there, and that's where I grew up at. And I was lucky at the age of 27 to kind of semi-retire myself. And at that time, I moved to Israel. I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I sat at the beach in Tel Aviv for about a year. And then a friend of mine told me that he was going to India. I said, you know what, I'm going to India with you. And 2 months later, he came back and I continued traveling for another 6, 7 years. I had no money. I didn't have a pot to piss in, as they say in New York, right? But I figured this is the time, and I just started traveling. I didn't know where I was going to get the money, where I was going, and I traveled for 6, 7 years. I met my wife while traveling, and it was an incredible experience because I realized what life was about. Life was about creating memories, right? Life was about creating experiences. Life was about giving your family everything that they can to make their lives easier. And again, it all depends on where you are and what stage you are in life. If you have a family, if you're single and whatnot, your desires, needs, and all that are different. But I understood that we're all the same. You know, I have a map up here, if you can see, and it doesn't matter if you're from China or from India or from Saudi Arabia, from Africa, or from Europe, or from the United States. Everybody wants to do the same. We all want to take care of our family. We all want them to be happy and healthy and provide for them. And so I went back, settled back in Israel. And in 2009, we moved back, my wife and family, we moved back. We moved to the States. We moved to Florida. I didn't know anybody in Florida. My network was in New York. It dried out. I had been 15 years out of the country. And not only that, but I was a big ass hippie. I had dreadlocks below my ass. 3 feet, 4 feet of dreadlocks all the way down to my ass. I had my big goatee. And here I am flipping houses and raising money. And people going, who the hell is going to give you $1? I'm like, you know what? If they don't, it's their loss. But I went through a lot of challenges and obstacles, and I learned from people. Mentorship, just like Walter said, mentorship. Hook up with this guy. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. So get that mentorship. But I went to Florida. And I really had to flatten my curve. So I had to network my ass off. I had to learn the markets. I had to understand. I had to get mentors who were already doing what I wanted to do so that I can achieve success. So I started flipping houses in Florida in 2009. Lowest hanging fruit, $16,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, concrete block house. Put $5,000 into it, flip it for 40. I mean, I was doing 5 to 10 wholesale deals a month while fixing and flipping at the same time. And then I remember the house, and I remember the day. It was in my neighborhood. It was a house that half of it burnt down. Literally, half of it was gone. The other half was there, but it was smoke and all of that. And I offered $100,000 for that house. People were coming in at 100, 150, 200, 300,000. That's when I said, time to look for another path because this avenue is drying up. And when you guys get to know me, you'll know that I'm very lazy. I don't like to work a lot. I like to hang out. I like to party. I was just at the bar before. I'm in a hotel right now in Orlando at a networking event. It was IRAs and people invest. This is what I love to do. I don't like to work very much. So I was looking for a way to get into passive income. And I found someone who was teaching multifamily. I started learning. I started working. I got into it. And the last 12 years, with my properties in New York and whatnot, I've got around $150 million of assets under management. The last 8 multifamily deals I did, they ranged from 44 units all the way up to 128 units. I did without any of my own money. That means that I went to investors and I raised capital for the earnest money deposit. There you go, right? Exactly. I raised capital for the equity, for the third-party reports, everything. And I went without a penny of my own money. And we've raised, for those 5-6 deals, I think it's over $15 million of outside capital that we raised to make these deals happen. One of those deals is in Greensboro. It's $128,000, just to share with you kind of what we're doing. We bought it. It was 2001 construction. We bought it in September of 2019 for $77,000 a door. We're under contract now to sell for $130,000 a door. I bought a property in Lilburn, 76 units for $4.5 million. I just got a broker who sent me their BOV, their broker's opinion of value. It's like an appraisal, but it's not an official appraisal. It's a broker's opinion of value at $9.5 million. And we bought that in 2018. Now, why have these properties jumped the way they did? Why? Why do some properties jump the way they do? Why do some kind of take a lot of time until they, get that speed up? And that's what we're going to go into today. So I just wanted to give you a quick background about who's this crazy guy with these funky eyebrows that's talking so fast, God knows what he's doing. So that's a little bit about me. I now live in South Florida. I live in Boca Raton, Florida, because that's an amazing place to raise our kids. We live in a place where people vacation. And that's kind of a lifestyle and mentality that you as investors and growing your businesses should have. What kind of lifestyle do I want to create for myself? And then go out and build that business around your lifestyle. Where do I want to live? Where do I want to invest? What kind of life do I want to have? What kind of friends do I want to have? What kind of house? How do I want to dress and talk and all that? Start envisioning that. Start creating that in your mind. Start planting the seeds, because the universe has a crazy way of working. And, I've traveled to over 50 countries, maybe 70 countries now. And, it's all about having that right mindset. And what I've learned is that if you put it out into the universe and you're open to receiving, amazing things will happen. Okay. So now, why do some markets, or why do some properties appreciate in incredible ways, and why do some not? Why some don't? How do I, when I'm an investor, find the right market for me to invest in? What are the criteria? Because it doesn't matter if you're flipping a home, if you're wholesaling, if you want to buy a duplex, if you want to buy a 100-unit property. These ideas and these concepts work for everybody, because everything is cyclical. Goes up and down, up and down, up and down. In multifamily and in single family homes, right? We're in a market, the market starts to appreciate, and we're going, oh my God, I can't find any good deals. But if you know how to look at new markets, and you know what the criteria is for an emerging market, then you can invest in one area. And when that gets hot, you can start looking across the country and going, okay, where's the next spot? That place right there. And you start investing in that. So you're up in one. And when it gets to the top of the market, you're getting rid of your assets because you don't want to go on that downside, right? So you're getting rid of those, but now you can't buy in that market. So what do? Now you find another market that's coming up. So it's like riding the roller coaster, but you're always going up. You're starting another market, you're going up. You're starting another market, going up. So let's get into it, all right? And if I'm talking too fast, just wave your hand and say, hey, give me like this, slow down kind of sign, all right? Because I get excited when I talk about this, and I love it because I'm not a college graduate. I don't plan on becoming a college graduate. You don't need to be a college graduate. You can be a long-haired hippie that doesn't have contacts, that doesn't know what the hell you're doing. Go out and learn from people that know, like Walter and everybody in this group and Ryan and whatnot. Go out there and find your mentors and follow their footsteps, and you'll get what they got. It's that simple. And if I can do it, and if I can be successful, man, I'll show you pictures when you can connect with me offline, go on my social media. I'm on all social media platforms known as the Traveling Investor. I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on everywhere. Traveling Investor, look me up. And you may even see photos of me with my long hair and my goatee and the whole 9 yards, okay? So how to find the best market to invest in, right? What are we looking for? All right, Theodore Roosevelt has a great saying. He says, every person who invests in well-selected real estate in growing section of a prosperous community adopts the surest and safest method of becoming independent. For real estate is the basis of wealth. How many of us, and I love, Walter, I love what you're doing, I'm going to copy it. Show me your hands. How many of us know that real estate is the way to wealth, right? Absolutely, man. Most millionaires have been created through real estate. And that's what we want to show you. But what they don't teach us is how to find the next best market, how to find the next best neighborhood. What are we looking for? So let's get into it. All right. Before buying an apartment complex or any other type of real estate, the first thing you need to do is understand the market in the city that you want to buy in. You want to make sure that you're investing in the right city. Being in the right city can multiply your profits and literally make you into a millionaire almost overnight. I'm going to give you an example. All right. Are you guys okay? Show me hands if you're okay with me giving you examples of actual life stories that happen of what we're doing. So being in the right market at the right time and understanding the markets. We were in Dallas in 2014. We bought a 240 unit property right outside the Love Airport. There's two airports in Dallas, the main one and Love. In a C-class neighborhood, C-class property. We bought it for $5.5 million. Do the math, what that per door is, 240 units. We put $1 million into that property. Dallas was going like this at the time. It's still going like this right now. It's incredible. We got in. 21 months later, we sold it for $11 million. We paid the lender $1 million prepay penalty. And I don't know if you guys know what prepayment penalty, that means that if you sell it before your term is up, you owe the bank money because they're giving you the mortgage that you would pay them a certain amount of money on interest, right? So if you don't take it to term, you have to pay them. So we pay them $1 million. Our investors made ridiculous returns. It wasn't anything that we did, right? We just followed up the plan of renovating the property and doing it. But the market itself, because it was appreciating, went that way, right? Same thing with Atlanta. And I just mentioned, we had a property that we bought it for $4.5 million in 2018. We closed on it November 2018. So now we're 3 years and 2 months or 3 years and 4 months after that. $9.5 million. That is because the market is exploding. So this is what we want to talk about, how to find those markets. All right. I'm just going to move you guys so I can see my screen here. All right. Put you there. All right. There are certain criteria when we're looking, and even if you're buying single family or multifamily, it doesn't matter. These criteria, this is what you should look for. Okay. And we're going to go into detail in them. Job growth, strong local government, more than one economic driving factor, okay? Now, job growth. As real estate investors, we know job growth is the holy grail. It's the holy grail when you're looking to find a new market. Why? Because jobs fuel economy. You have more jobs coming into an economy. Now think about this. You have a company like Amazon that's coming into your market and they're generating 1,000 jobs. Right? That means that there are 1,000 people that are bringing their families over or will start families in that market. Those people need schools. Well, schools need teachers. Those schools need places where the teachers can go hang out, where the parents can buy clothes, food, where the family can go and hang out and have entertainment, where the parents can go out and have a night out with without the kids, right? So schools. Then jobs bring in more service-oriented jobs. For every one white-collar job created, right, or there are 3 service-oriented jobs, the butcher, the baker, and the bartender, right? So look at how many jobs are being created in that market. Now, there's 3 phases of job growth. There's the pre-announcement, right? That's when the Economic Development Committee, if there is one in your city, is starting to talk to different companies and organizations and saying, hey, why don't you come down, finding them a piece of real estate and saying, you know what, if you come in and you bring in 1,000 people, we'll give you a tax abatement for the next 5 years, incentive to bring their organization here. That's pre-announcement. How do you get to pre-announcement? Well, you got to have good relations with people in the city, council members, the Economic Development Committee, Chamber of Commerce. We're going to talk about these people, right? You want to be in there. So for example, in Boca Raton, I know personally the woman who drives the Economic Development Committee. She was at my last mastermind. She talked. She is doing an incredible job bringing in jobs into Boca. Unbelievable. So for example, where I live in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County, we have 65 Fortune 500 headquarters or at least Fortune 1000 headquarters in Palm Beach County. Boca Raton has 40 of them. That's how awesome they're bringing jobs into our community. And because of that, more things are flourishing. The Bright Line is creating a train station there that's going to take from Boca directly to Orlando. That's going to be another connection from Orlando to Tampa. So you see how pre-announcement. Then second phase of job growth is when they announce it, right? This is when everybody hears, oh, Amazon is coming. They're building a facility in 2022 and they're going to bring in 1,000 jobs, right? That's the announcement phase. Then phase 3 is the fulfillment, when they've actually built the facility and now they're hiring these people and these people are moving. You want to be in phase 1 and phase 2. Because when you're in phase 2 and they started announcing, guess what? A lot of the big boys, all the river rocks, the gray stones, the pebbles, and all those stones and rocks and funds and groups are already earmarking these places because they've heard about it, because they heard the pre-announcement, right? So that's job growth. You always want to have job growth. You want a city that has strong leadership and understands job growth. For example, you want a mayor and an economic development committee and a chamber of commerce that are going to drive jobs to your area. The more jobs, the better. And how do you find out? You pick up the phone. You call the city. Hey, do you have an economic development committee organization? Can I speak to the chamber of commerce? What is this? What's going on? How many jobs are being created? Who's coming in? Just ask questions. They will be more than happy to answer your questions because you're an investor coming to add value to the community. You're coming and you're buying dilapidated property, single family, commercial, multi, whatever it is. You're renovating them. You're bringing life back into the community. They want to work with us. They love us. Okay. What else are you looking for? You're looking for more than one economic driving factors, right? Houston, for example, Houston, Texas used to be just oil. Oil, oil, oil. Today, it's got healthcare, manufacturing, retail, all of that. It's diversified. So you want a city that has multiple driving economic factors because if one dries up, you have all the other funnels coming in and feeding you. Okay, so you want healthcare, manufacturing, retail, hospitality, information technology. This is what you're looking for. You want an MSA. We all know what MSA is. Yes, hands to the screen. Metropolitan Statistical Area, that greater metropolitan area, right? So that greater metropolitan area where you're investing, you want at least 100,000 people. Why? We all know that when we invest, before we buy, what's the first thing that we look at, right? It's our exit strategy. How am I going to get out of this? Because it's so easy to buy a piece of property. Here's money. Thank you. Have a nice day. But what am I doing with this property? What's my end goal? What's my strategy? What's my exit? Who am I selling it to? When am I going to sell it to? What price range, right? What are the different groups? If you have a property in a community that's 20,000 people, do you think Greystone or River Rock or Gray Pebble are going to come even and look at you when you go to buy? Absolutely not. All you're going to have as your buying pool are the local buyers in that local market. But if you go into an MSA of at least 100,000 people, guess what? Your buying pool now increases tenfold because you've got, hey, remember when Zillow was buying homes? Imagine if you were an emerging market right now with a population of over 100,000 people and you own properties, single family and whatnot, and Matt, you would probably have gotten a call from Zillow and say, hey, would you like to sell me your property? That's what being in a market of over 100,000 people. Major hub, at least one major university, right? So the more people in your MSA, the bigger your buying pool. We went over that. Universities are growing exponentially, right? Forget about the pandemic and all that, whatever happened, that kind of, universities are still blowing up, right? Now, universities, they have students. Students need a place to work. Bars, Starbucks, restaurants, coffee shops, bookstores, T-Mobiles, all those, right? Then the teachers, the graduate students, they all need a place to live. They all need a place to go on vacation, not vacation, but go out and eat and release some stress and go to a bar and a restaurant and buy some clothes and renovate their homes, all of that, right? So you want a major university. I was in Athens, Georgia. I had a property in Athens, Georgia. University of Georgia, 30,000 students, puts in $14 billion of economic influx into Athens, Georgia. Great market. Are you kidding me? Wow, right? That's what you want to look for. You want to look for tourism, business flights in and out, movement in and out. That's why you want to have also big airports, right? Bringing in product, moving product out, jobs. It all boils down to job growth. How much jobs can be generated in that area, right? Why is Atlanta so hot? Because Atlanta is close, meaning Florida, you have to fly to Atlanta. From Atlanta, you can get everywhere into the country. Jacksonville, the port comes in, goes into Atlanta, distributes it all over the country. You want to find hubs where people are moving to. There's a great way of finding out where people are moving to. uhaul.com, one-way destinations. One-way destinations. Where are people moving to? There's also a report that comes out, I think it comes out now in January. It's called the Milken Report, M-I-L-K-E-N. It talks about the top markets to invest in. Not only that, but today we have Google, and you can go and you can say, hey, what are the number one markets that millennials are moving to? Boom, right there. So universities, why do you want at least one major university? Because they're growing. The faculty is growing. Students and faculty need to be served. Those servers and owners of businesses, they need a place to live, right? Several modes of transportation. You want airport, train, you want shipping, everything to come in. More than one big box retail and amenities. Shipping, air traffic, cargo, rail, again, movement in that area. And when you're looking for these markets, you want to kind of have a 30,000-foot view and look at an overall view of what's going on in that area, where it's located in the city. And one thing I didn't mention before I started getting into this is when you're looking for a new market to get into, make sure it's a market that you enjoy going to. Make sure it's a market that's easy for you to get to, right? I live in Boca Raton, Florida. I live in South Florida. I'm not going to buy a property in Oregon. You follow me? Florida is here on the map. Oregon is on the complete other side of the map. It's going to take me a long time to get there. It's a schlep of a flight. It's long. I'm not going to go out there as often. I'm not going to go, right? I'd rather look something that has a maximum of a 3-hour flight in it for me, and where I can get there in the morning, do what I need to do, and if I need to, get back on a plane and go home at night. Okay, that's something that you should look for when you're looking into a new market. Big box retailers. Who's the big box? We heard from a big box today. It's a fantastic offer. Home Depot, Lowe's, Starbucks, Walmart, Target, right? All these big stores, Michael's, Ross, these big box retails, they do their homework. Find out where they're opening up their stores, and that's a good place to invest in. For example, Starbucks. If you're buying in a neighborhood that has a local Starbucks, guess what? That shows you that people in that market, in that neighborhood, have excess between $4 to $10 a day to spend on coffee. That means that those rents are up there. That means that this is a good market to buy in, to invest in, has income coming in, money, right? That's what they do. So follow the big box retailers because they spend millions and millions of dollars doing their market research to know, should we go on, should we open up in the northern part of the city, the eastern, the southern, or the western? They're not going to open up in the western part of the city if everything's happening in the northern part of the city. They're going to open up over there. So look at where they're opening up and follow them. This is how I look at my markets. This is how I buy and how I find new markets. And when we're done, I'm going to share with you on a couple of markets that I'm going into now and how I found them. Now, amenities. When you're looking at a place to buy or market to invest in a city, you want to look at what amenities they offer. Why did my wife and I go in, buy a place or want to live in Boca, for example? Well, we wanted to live in East Boca because it was close to the beaches. Their schools, middle schools and high schools, are A-rated. The parks, the playgrounds, the beaches are absolutely impeccable. Now, mind you, I'm a New York City street kid, born in the 70s. I hung out with the Guardian Angels in Times Square. You know, this is where I grew up in, right? We would go to the playgrounds. There were no basketball hoops. People would rip them off. There was no basketball nets. The slides on the slides were missing. You know, it was dilapidated. It was crappy. You go to Boca, they've got lights, tennis courts, soccer courts, volleyball courts, badminton courts. I mean, everything is lit. Everything is well maintained. Amazing. What does that tell you? It tells you that the city is smart enough to invest in its amenities so that they can bring in families. What is families? When you're looking at a market, you always want to see how many families are being created or how many families are moving in, because families mean elementary school, middle school, high school, off to college, and the parents stay. So it's good 10, 15 years that this family is staying in this market, and they need to be served. Who's going to serve them? Well, people who are going to serve them are going to live in your rental properties and your duplexes. If you have great amenities and you're in a great tourist area, people are going to come and stay in your Airbnbs. They're going to rent from your multifamily properties. This is what they're going to do when you have great amenities. So when you're looking at a market, also look at the amenity packages that they offer as well. Does that all make sense? Is everybody good? Are we good? Am I going too fast? Okay. All right. Awesome. Now, Chamber of Commerce. We all hear the Chamber of Commerce, blah, blah, but this is a group of business owners in a town or city who form a network to promote local businesses. Now, if you're going into a market, into an area, you want to know, what do we talk about? What's the holy grail? Job growth. Who better to know where the jobs are happening? What's the best area to be in? Who's buying? Who's selling? Where they're doing it? This is all where you want to go. You want to go to the Chamber of Commerce, join the Chamber of Commerce, become a member, infiltrate. Now, I'll tell you, I belong to two Chamber of Commerce, one in Boca, one in Del Rey, and they're full of realtors. Who better to know what's going on in that market than realtors, successful realtors? You get a hold of a couple of successful realtors and you make friends with them, take them out to lunch, pay for lunch, really schmooze them, add value to them, ask them questions. Hey, where do you see people buying? What's the best area to go? What's going on in the city? What's happening? Are there more houses on the market than people are buying? Or how long are houses staying on the market? Are they coming on and flying off? Are they staying for 6, 7 months and you have to reduce the prices? Because we're going to go into that. This is going to tell you where the market is on that market cycle. Economic Development Committee, it's exactly what they say they do. They develop the economics of that community, right? So they're responsible for bringing in major companies and increasing the job count. That's their job. That's their job. That's their 100% all they need to do. So call up your city, say, hey, do you have an economic development committee? I would like to speak to the person running that committee. Take them out to lunch. Where do you see the path of progress going? And that's a phrase that you should use, path of progress. Where is the city moving? Where is the city injecting money to? Where's the gentrification happening? Where is the art scene? The art scene. I don't know if a lot of you are, oh, this is Boston. So let me tell you about an area in Miami called Wynwood. Wynwood was a drug-infested gang neighborhood. It still is. However, a group of artists went in there, and rent was cheap. Cheap as, right? That you can find in Miami. A couple of artists went in there, opened up art studios. Then they started having these art walks on Fridays, and more people came, and more people came, and more people came. Now, Wynwood is a world-renowned art center, Porsche towers being built, but you still got the gang graffiti going all over the place. But because the artists came in, that neighborhood started gentrifying. Now the artists are being pushed out because rents are too high. They can't afford them. So now they're going to Little Haiti. They're going to Little River. They're going to Magic City. And if you can follow them and be a little bit ahead of them, you can buy real estate in those areas, wait for them to come in, rent to them, and your value will start increasing because you know what to look for already. You know where to go and what criteria you want to find in those markets. Hope that makes sense. Awesome. The Chamber of Commerce, they know what's happening and where it's happening. Reach out to them. Hey, where is this going on? What's happening? Ask questions. People will love to answer your questions. Every time I go into a new market, I go to the Chamber of Commerce, I go to the city, and I tell them exactly what I'm doing. Hi, I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking to buy multifamily, single families. I'm looking to renovate them. You know, what's the most dilapidated area that's being gentrified right now? I would love to buy properties in those areas and inject money into that and build it out and make the city beautiful. Oh, absolutely, sir. Come. Well, this is where we're doing this, and this is where we're doing that, and this is what's going on. That's what they want. If they're smart. If they're not smart, they're going to give you a whole lot of shit and pushback and all that stuff. You know what? Thank you. Have a nice day. I'm going to go next door. It's as easy as that. Now, understanding the market cycles, understanding different properties. We have ABCD properties and ABCD neighborhoods. Okay. So the 4 phases on the real estate market cycle is buyer's market phase 1, BM1, buyer's market phase 2, seller's market phase 1, and seller's market phase 2. And we're going to talk about each one, and I'm going to share with you. So please take notes, but this is being recorded, so you'll be able to get this. There's a lot of information here that is going to really help you understand when to transfer from one market into another market and which market to transfer into, so that you don't want to go from the top of one market to the top of another market. It defeats the purpose, right? You want to go from the top of one market to the bottom of the other, ride that up, dump your properties, move into another market at the bottom and ride. So this is what we're going to talk about in the next. Now, each property type is a different animal, and you need to know how to handle each one, because each property is going to require different strategies and different property management companies and neighborhoods as well. Just like the properties, each neighborhood has its own characteristics, right? And we're going to go into that right now. But let's talk about market cycles. So there's let me just see. This is being okay. Oops, sorry. Let me see if I can go back. How can I go back? Oh, there we go. All right. So we have our market. Oh, geez. Sorry about that, guys. I see. I'm not technology. There we go. All right. So think about this. There are 3 different characteristics to market cycles. There's price, there's job growth, and there's properties, right? So we see here the 3 different variables in the market cycles. So let's start with buyer's market phase 2. Now, if you're looking at this, right, everything is cyclical, right? It's waves, right? Buyer's market 2. So if we have a wave that goes up and then down, buyer's market phase 2 is at the bottom of the market. Prices, right? We have here the light blue. This is pricing. Pricing on buyer's market phase 2. Now, buyer's market phase 2, I call that the millionaire maker. And I'll tell you why. Prices are the cheapest. Job growths are at their lowest. There's no job growth. People are actually leaving this market, right? That's the dark blue. The gray, this is time on the market. Properties in buyer's market phase 2, there's more properties on the market, and they're staying on the market for a longer period of time. So think about it like this. Buyer's market phase 2, 2008, 2009, when the shit hit the fan and everything went down bottom, right? Think about it. I was able to pick up houses for $16,000. I was doing multiple wholesale deals. People were begging me to take their properties away from them. We had tons of inventory, right, on the MLS and everywhere. There weren't enough buyers. People were leaving the markets, right? That's a good time to buy. Why? Because pricing is low. It's a buyer's market. Now, when we get out of that phase, right? So we're at the bottom, buyer's market, right? Prices are the lowest that they're going to be. Job growth is nil. People actually running out of the city or the state, and you got tons of properties just waiting for you to buy. That's a good time to buy. That's when you want to start accumulating. That's when you want to start being greedy, okay? Warren Buffett has a great saying, when people are fearful, be greedy. When people are greedy, be fearful. Where are we today? Are we in the greedy mode? Are people being greedy today, or they're being fearful? They're being greedy at AF, as we say, right? As my daughters say on their text messages, right? Greedy AF. So we got to be careful. Can't buy everything, right? We're at the top of the market right now. In Boston, in South Florida, we're at the top of the market. But if we're at the bottom and we're at buyer's market stage 2, this is when we want to start accumulating everything, because prices from there are only going to go up. So we go from buyer's market phase 2 to the bottom, then we go to seller's market phase 1. That's when we start up. That's when we start coming out of that bottom. And what happens? Prices start to creep up. Remember 2011, 12, 13, prices started going up. Cap rates started compressing, but they weren't really compressed. You were still able, and you're still in seller's market phase 1. Prices are going up, but they're not at the peak. Job growth, this is when people start coming back into the market. Remember the 3 phases of job growth? Announcement, pre-announcement, announcement, and fulfillment. So this is when people start coming back, when they start fulfilling jobs. They start announcing, hey, you know what? We're going to go in Detroit, and we're going to build a factory, and we're going to bring in 5,000 people. Whoa, okay. Job growth is starting to increase, right? That's the seller's market phase 1. The dark blue, job growth starts to come back up, right? Compared to seller's market stage 2, or buyer's market stage 2, excuse me. Now, from buyer's market stage 2, look at the gray. You have the most amount of properties on the market. Look at seller's market phase 1. Oop, that starts to decrease. People are starting to buy. People are going, oh, wait a minute. Job growth, price increase. Let's get into that market right now. Let's go. That's when the market starts to take off. Then when we start getting to the top of the market, that's seller's market phase 2. That's where we're now. That's when prices at their highest. That's when job growth is pounding. You see cranes all over the place, construction, cap rates at 3, at a 3%, money's coming in there, gray stone, gray rock, river pebbles, they're all coming in and buying shit up. You can still find good deals, but you kind of lost it because you're at seller's market phase 2. Now, in each market, in each phase, your buying criteria is different. In a buyer's market stage 2, you want to buy and you want to hold. You want to buy and hold until that market starts creeping up. And why? Because the market is going to force that appreciation. It's going to take your $5 million property and I'll make it $7 million because everything else around it is appreciating. Not because you're a genius and you're a rocket scientist and you got beautiful eyebrows like me. No, they don't give a shit about that. It's the market is appreciating. And guess what? Your property is appreciating with it. That's a beautiful thing. But if you're in seller's market phase 2, guess what? Your buying strategy should be different. Your buying strategy at the height of the market should be to buy it, prove your upside really quick, and dump it to the next buyer. Let them hold it on the downturn. In seller's market phase 1, you're not at the top, but you're not at the bottom. You're in the middle, so you have time. So you want to buy, you want to hold for a couple of years, put that NOI up, right? Renovate your properties, really make them really pretty, hold on to them, get that cash flow rolling, right? And then when the prices really start to increase, then you can dump it at seller's market phase 2. That's the highest point in the market cycle. It looks the lowest, but it's deceiving because the pricing is the highest, the job growth is the highest. However, the amount of properties on the market are low. There's tons of competition. How many of us today are dealing with competition that is just kicking you in the ass and you go, what the WTF, right? What's going on here? Everybody and their grandmother now wants to buy a single family home and turn it into an Airbnb and think they're going to be successful overnight. So in this market, we want to have a different philosophy. In buyer's market phase 1, right? That's when you've tipped over the top of the seller's market, and now we're crashing. Now we're crashing. And as Walter said in the beginning, it doesn't matter if the market is crashing. If your property is still cash flowing, who cares about the value of the property? Because you're going to keep it. Don't dump it when the values are going down in buyer's market phase one. You see, buyer's market phase one, suddenly prices are dropping from here, from the highest, they're dropping. Job growth is dropping. People are leaving. But the amount of properties now are coming on the market more. They're staying on the market. Now, residential usually leads the market. Then multifamily right behind it, right? So when you see residential homes staying on the market for longer, and then owners of the property, of the houses are dropping their pricing, you know something's fishy. Ooh, more properties are coming on the market, right? What's going on? What's going on? They're lasting longer. Holy cow, people aren't buying. Understand, right? So here, so let's go through it again. Buyer's market phase two is the lowest. That's when it hits rock bottom. Prices are at their lowest. Job growth is at their lowest. People are leaving the city. Construction has halted. It's stopped. The cranes have been removed. Nothing's going on. Multiple properties on the market, residential, commercial, multifamily. Nobody's buying. You want to go in and you want to start looking at the areas where they're going to gentrify. Cities in this time are putting their master plan together where they're going to start renovating and gentrifying the areas for the next upswing. So from here, the next time you look, it comes out of the bottom, seller's market, meaning seller's market one, the prices are increasing, job growth is increasing, properties on the market are decreasing. Then the market gets hotter, hotter and hotter. Prices are increasing, cap rates are compressing. You know, I live in Miami, 1920 built properties, 10-unit properties are selling at a 2 cap. How can you make money on a 2 cap? There's this thing called debt coverage ratio. You can't cover your mortgage on a 2 cap, but they're buying it. That's here. Prices are super high. Job growth, people are flying in to get jobs. Factories, Amazon, Walmart, they're all opening up their factories. Properties, there's not a lot of inventory on the market. Properties, right? It's hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. Like Walter said, 2024, 2025, man, it's going to be a oops, right? Where do you want to be on the market cycle? Do you want to be at the top or do you want to be at the bottom, scooping up properties, scooping up, scooping up, scooping up, scooping up, scooping up, and holding them until that market comes up? Then if you go down, you'll start seeing prices are going to go down, job growth is going to decrease, and then properties are going to stay on the market a lot longer. So are we clear on this market cycle? Because this is huge. You understand market cycles, you can bounce from market to market to market. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I started buying in Atlanta, North Carolina, in the Southeast. I was buying in the Southeast, buying. Everybody now is buying in the Southeast. Everybody wants to buy in Georgia. Everybody wants to buy in South Carolina. Everybody wants to buy in North Carolina. Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm selling. Because we're here. We're at seller's market stage 2. I'm selling everything because I bought it in BM2 and SM1. That's when I bought. Now I'm selling in SM2 in those markets. But I'm moving into new markets. I'm moving into Arkansas. I'm moving into Missouri. I'm moving into Cincinnati, Ohio, because these areas are up and coming. How did I know this? What triggered it? Suddenly, I'm seeing brokers, bing, hey, here's a property in Northwest Arkansas. Oh, hey, here's something in Cincinnati. Here's another one in Cleveland. Here's something in Branson. Here's something in Lansing. Why are they sending properties out now in these areas? And I did my research. Millennials are moving. Properties are cheaper. Your cost basis is cheaper. So now I'm selling over here. I'm doing 1031s. You all know what a 1031 is, right? We're taking all our investors' money. We're doing a 1031. And what we bought for $130,000 a door, or we sold at $130,000, we're now moving into these markets and buying at $50,000, $60,000 a door. And now we're going to ride those puppies up to 70, 80, $90,000 a door. And then when that market becomes hot, guess what? We're going to be one of the sellers. I'm going to be selling to all of these river rocks and pebbles and all that stuff at the height of the market. That's how this will make you wealthy, understanding the market cycle. And I hope I did it justice explaining it to you. Now, let's talk about properties, right? It doesn't matter, multifamily, single family, class of properties are the same. Class A properties, right? Class A, what it says, newly built, high-end amenities, white-collar tenants, low cash flow because you're paying so much for it. Your mortgage payments are really high, right? So your cash flow is not that great. However, this is what we call generational properties. This is something that you're gonna hold on to for 5, 10, 15 years, and it's going to cash flow. May not be a huge cash flow, but you'll cash flow, but your equity, your value will maintain itself throughout the years. Let me ask you this. What would maintain its value better? Buying a 2018 property, doesn't matter if it's a single family or multifamily, buying a 2018 property or buying a 1970 property today? What would hold value better in 5 years from now? It's a pretty stupid question, right? You're all looking at me like, yeah, dude, what kind of a stupid question is that? Please remind us what the cap rate means. Cap rate is the ratio between income, between your net operating income and the purchase price that you're paying. Okay, that's the cap rate. So for example, if you're buying a property for $1 million and your NOI is $100,000, your cap rate is 10. That means that you're making a lot of money based on the purchase price. So the lower the cap rate, the more expensive the property is. The higher the cap rate, the cheaper it is. Okay, that's kind of very easy to explain that, right? On that. So if you have any more questions on cap rate, and that's just a metric so that when people talk about, investment properties, if I tell, for example, Walter, hey man, we're buying this at a 6 cap, he already kind of understands the money and, how much money's coming in, what type of asset this is, what kind of cash flow we're going to generate. It's just a metric for us. Okay. Yes, that's the equation. So to find the cap rate, it's an equation. It's called ERV, right? I, which is net operating income, which is annual, over, right? It's a fraction over R times V, the rate, which is the cap rate, times the purchase price. And you'll always have two metrics. You'll either have a cap rate and a purchase price, or an NOI and a purchase price, NOI and a cap rate, and right. So you'll be able to interchange those and find the calculation and find that number. So let's go back to properties. So Class A properties will hold better value, right? All that stuff. Then we have our Class B properties. They're about 10 to 20 years old. They've got amenities, right? Pool, dog park, all that stuff. Blue collar tenants, some mid-level executives will be there depending on the amenities you have and so forth. Okay, great. Uploading and perfect. Thank you. Oops. How do I? Come on. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm not technology oriented. Blue collar tenants, middle market, middle executives, they're going to live there. It's a little older property, but still has good amenities, good bones, still in a good area, good cash flow with potential upside. A lot of times the owners of the B properties will keep them occupied and have rents lower because they just want to keep the property occupied. And you can come in, you can paint, you can renovate, you can put lipstick on it, right? Make it look really pretty and increase the rents and have a nice upside. Lower cap rates, right? But not as low as Class A. And they're located just outside prime markets and neighborhoods, while Class A, as we know, are in the prime areas. And I'm sure you guys know all of this and whatnot. This is just for, refresher. Class C properties, 20 to 30 years old, no amenities, lower blue collar and Section 8 tenants, strong cash flow. There's not, people say, oh, Section 8. I have a property in Charlotte, North Carolina, 80% Section 8. And guess what? On the 5th of the month, every single month, guess what goes into my bank account? cash. But boom, the government pays. Just like that. The government pays. And if you have a tenant that ruins your property and ruins your unit, guess what? You call Section 8. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, their kid trashed my unit. They did da-da-da. Boom, they're kicked off Section 8 and they're gone. So it's awesome. Section 8 is fantastic. Section 8 was actually doing really well during the pandemic. They were the only ones that were actually continuing to pay rent, right? So don't knock Section 8. Mid-level cap rates located near industrial areas and major roadways, a little bit out of the areas. And you can see here a picture, right? The design of the property is different. The amenities look different. We all know. Class D properties, 30 years plus, no amenities, low income, usually in D neighborhoods as well. And we'll go into that as well. D stands for drugs. That's kind of how I classify it. All cash, almost no appreciation, great cash flow. And there are people that buy D properties and they know how to manage those properties. They don't mind coming to the knocking on doors with two other guys with guns strapped or whatever to collect rent. They don't mind because this is a cash heavy property. It pays cash flow. These are people that will, they'll come and they'll pay you in singles and fives and 20s, right? $1,000, but here you go, right? In singles. It's kind of, right? So just know that that's who. In highly industrialized areas and high crime areas. Class A neighborhoods, same thing. Newly built neighborhoods, high-end amenities, white collar, best places to live in, A-rated schools, low crime rates. Everybody wants to live here, but not everybody can afford to live there. Class B neighborhoods, right? A little bit lower than the Class A, mix of working class and professionals, right? A little bit less character because it's a little bit older. The amenities a little bit older, just a little bit older, but still very, very nice place to live, right? And great areas just outside the prime markets. Class C neighborhoods become less popular as they get older, right? There's a mix of rentals and owner-occupied properties, working class neighborhoods. They're located near industrial areas, major roadways, really good for cash flow. Really, really good for cash flow. And then you've got your D neighborhoods, which are near the industrial areas, really low income areas. The city kind of forgot about this area. They're not looking in there. Cops don't want to go there, right? High crime rate, no amenities, extremely low income location, highly industrialized areas, not well maintained. When you're going into the city, ask for the master plan. Ask to see where they're building out, because if they're building out towards these Class D areas, imagine you now know this information. You can go to the Class D neighborhood, start acquiring properties for pennies on the dollar. You wait 1, 2, 3 years, and the city comes in, starts bulldozing, breaking up streets, putting in new. Guess what happens to your property value? Woohoo! Exactamente. Absolutely. And this is kind of like a little map here of what it looks like, right? So you've got the Class A right downtown. This is the downtown district. So here's the Class A, the university area. Then right outside, you've got the Class B. And then really further out is the Class C location of that area, by the airport, by the warehouses, right? Just to give you a visual of what it looks like. And I'm sure, all of you guys are extremely intelligent. You've done this before, So before I wrap up here and I give back to Walter, I just want to, reiterate and go over. You want to look at job growth. Job growth is the number one key factor in finding the best market to invest in. If there is no job growth, don't do it. You want 100,000 people in the MSA. You want to make sure that big box realtors, big box retail, universities, right? You want to look where things are happening. Now, the market doesn't have to be popping now, right? Market cycles, but you want to go into a market that is coming up, that is increasing. You're going into a market that's in the buyer's market stage 1 or buyer's market 1 or 2, or even seller's market phase 1. And it's coming out. That's where you want to be, right? And it will make you millions of dollars hopping from one market to another market to another market. Just make sure that you've got your systems in place, your processes, your boots on the ground, and everything all there. Now, and that's my presentation on how to find the best market to invest in. Thank you very much for having me. That's my email. Happy hunting. And Walter, I want to give everybody a free gift, if you don't mind. Awesome.
No, that's
Let me-
great. Hey, I'm also, can you talk a little bit about your mentoring program, your course and that we can definitely give people a link about that because, you certainly know what you're doing. You've been doing this enough and, you come highly praised from Walter. So, I'm going to post your link that you gave me in there, but maybe you can talk about that for the next 5 or so minutes.
Right. Awesome. So just to answer a couple of questions here on the chat, my last name is Mosery, Mosery. And the reason why there's a T in my name, but not in my email is because when I was born, my parents misspelt my name. They spelt it without the T. So whenever I go to networking events, I spent the first 20 minutes having people try to pronounce my name, Nizan, 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 Nissan. So I put the T in there for pronunciation, Nitzam. So the email that's written on the screen is correct, Nizan @investwithcip. You can also add the T in there if you like. It'll all come to me. So remember when I told you guys that I went traveling for 6-7 years and, I was lost and I found myself and I realized what I wanted. And here, Duncan just put the free gift. It's my roadmap. It's my 5-step roadmap to buying multifamily. And it talks about finding the right markets, finding the deals, how to talk to brokers, how to analyze, how to manage, how to close, everything in that roadmap right there. That's for you. Knock it out. Feel free to reach out with any questions. But my goal when I was traveling, I realized that there are so many people out there that are getting misinformation, that are getting no information, that don't know where to go, and are living life by default. And what do I mean by default? They're living life based on the cards that they were dealt, right? Oh, I don't know. I wasn't taught this in school, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get a job, do what I got to do for 40, 50 years and retire and whatnot. And traveling, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about life. I learned a lot about the ways of the universe, karmic energy, manifesting, really going in and digging deep in, breaking through that analytical mind and those brainwaves and going deeper into the different brainwaves so that we can go into the quantum field, the energy field that is all around us, and then manifest anything in life that we desire, right? So I went out there and I realized that people are living by default. They're dead. They've lost their dreams. They've lost their hopes. They've lost their desires because they were never given the tools and the opportunity to be successful. So I said, you know what? I've learned multifamily. Thank God I've been successful. I've gone through a lot of crap, a lot of bad deals, a lot of good deals. I've had successes. I've lost money. I've done it. I've been there. And my goal now is to help 1 billion people achieve financial freedom through multifamily investing. So my goal is to help you get into your first deal. Because if you can get into your first deal, you'll understand about how to talk to brokers. You'll understand how to find the right market and how to find the right deals and what neighborhoods to find, how to analyze the properties, how to network to raise capital so that you don't have to come out of your pocket with any money. Remember, the last 8 deals I did had no money out of my pocket, none. The only money I spent was buying a plane ticket to go walk the properties. That was it, hotel and whatnot. I didn't come in with earnest money deposit. I didn't come in with third-party money. I raised that from outside investors. So I've done it all. I've been there. I've learned it the hard way, right? I was always told to do something a certain way. I did it. Does not work, right? If it doesn't work, I will get you another link, but it should work. try maybe another browser. I'm uploading it myself. So I created a coaching program. Okay. My coaching program right now, I'm offering 3 months. I've videotaped. I have on demand that you can sit in your own home, just like you are now, and watch me on your screen talk about how to find the right market, the criteria, how to analyze deals, how to talk to brokers, how to raise capital, how to do everything. Okay. In those videos. So it's about 10 plus hours of how to network properly, how to create your avatar so that when you want to go out and raise capital, you're not doing what I did for the last 8 years, for my first 8 years, was go and talk to everybody and then have a shoebox filled with business cards and no money raised. Now that I'm dialed into my avatars, all of my social media presence is focused on those avatars. So now they're coming to me. The people that I want to invest with me are coming to me because I've learned how to focus my avatars. I've learned how to underwrite. I've learned how to do all that. So I give you 10 plus hours that you can watch over and over and over again. You're going to get access to my Facebook group and then access to group coaching, which is every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. I open it up. It's a Zoom like this, and you get to ask me questions about anything, setting goals, mindset, how to talk to brokers, how to find the deals, how to analyze, anything about business. We talk about it. And you get invited to one mastermind. My next mastermind is going to be March 25th to 27th in Boca. And we're going to learn how to create intentions, how to create action steps, how to go into the quantum field so that we can manifest anything that we want. Because it's not enough to just think positive thoughts. How many of us have been thinking positive thoughts for the last 25 years? And you're like, yeah, I've been thinking positive thoughts, but that doesn't do me any good, right? It's more than just thinking positive thoughts. It's understanding how to get through that barrier in our brain to hit the subconscious level and work that subconscious level so that we can manifest and create anything that we want. Okay? So that's what we're doing. So it's 3 months. It's 3 months of group coaching. Once you fill, and I have forms. You have to fill out all these forms once you sign up, and then after you fill out the forms, we have about an hour and a half conference call together, going over all the forms. And the forms are basically, what kind of lifestyle do you want to live? What are your goals? What's your 1 year goal? We create action steps to achieve your goals. We create your inventory, what I call the inventory list, right? A lot of times we go in there and we're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I need. I know what, well, let's take it down. We create a list and what do you bring to the table? Okay, what else do you need? Who do you need to have on the team to help you? So I help you build the business that will revolve around your lifestyle. And that 3 month program is only $39.95. You get my Facebook group. You get the mastermind that's coming up. You get the unlimited on-demand videos and group coaching. One group coaching every week, and it goes anywhere. It can be 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, as much as you guys keep talking and engaging me. That's how long we stay. Okay. Plus, you get that hour, hour and a half strategy call to set everything up in the beginning, and then we rock and roll. So it's only $39.95. Right? It's very simple. You get in, and obviously, once you start working with me and you like it and you want to go, then we can talk about moving into one-on-one programs and getting you deeper into it. I'll give you an example. I had a one-on-one client. He started out, he was from Colombia. He lives in Miami, and he joined with me, and we started working. He had a property under contract in Winston-Salem. I got on a plane because he was a one-on-one coach with me. I got on a plane. I flew out there, spent the weekend with him at that property, walking the property, doing the due diligence, showing him everything, and pinpointing all of the errors and things. Hey, look at that. Look at the wall over here. It's bulging. Look at the foundation. Look at this. Look at that. It's an HOA. Whoa, wow, we didn't know about that. All of that. I was there to help him walk through that. Since then, he's closed on over 500 units. He just closed on another 180 unit property. I helped him build a team to see all of that stuff. And then he took it and he ran with it. I have another guy, Carlos, who is he's a social worker. He's a single father. He's one of the guys that tried to do real estate once, borrowed money from family and friends, lost money, sold the real estate, sold the house, lost all the money, and was very embarrassed and ashamed and had this, mind block and said, oh, I'm never going to do it. He came to my mastermind, had a mind shift, went back home, bought a triplex, hard money lender, private money, no money out of his pocket, renovated it. COVID hit. He ran that property, managed it all through COVID. After COVID, he sold that property, paid back his investors, the bridge loan and the private investor, and had money left over to pay off all of his family that he lost their money and his credit card debt. The guy is debt free now. He's putting a 10-unit property under contract in Connecticut where he lives, and now he's raising capital, $228,000. If anybody wants to be a passive investor in that deal, let me know. 7% preferred return, and the actual return once you're done is with the sale and the profit is huge. So this is what I help people do, and I take this very personally because I'm not in it for your $39.95. I don't need it. I'm doing this because I want everyone to live life on your terms, not on somebody else's terms. I want you to build your empire for you, because if you're not building your empire, you're working to build somebody else's empire. Can I do a payment plan? I can work on a payment plan for some. Yes, we don't like to because the information that I'm giving is worth millions, right? But we can work with some people on a payment plan. Absolutely. Yes, for sure. This, I believe, right here, I have the link here for those. That's the roadmap is the gift. And if you want to join the coaching, this is the link that Duncan that we created together, so that anybody in the REIA that wants to join can connect and sign up through that link as well. And again, my goal is to make sure that you are successful. Okay, my coaching clients, 45-minute calls. We go an hour, we go an hour and a half, because I'm not going to cut it because, oh, clock stop. No, if we're working on numbers and you've got a deal and you're working on it, well, we're going to run through it. We're going to stay as long as it takes to make sure that you ran your numbers, you did it right, and you've got it all set up. I'm not going to leave you in the wind. And when you join my coaching program, you get me, right? I'm not going to send you off to somebody else's, I'm not going to hand you off to somebody else and have them coach you. You get me. I've flipped houses. I've renovated houses. I've got 4 Airbnbs. I'm closing on another Airbnb in Northwest Arkansas on January 25th. I've got a duplex closing in Lake Worth. I've got multifamilies that I'm selling. I also have a hotel in Memphis, 240 room hotel. I've got a glamping resort outside of Charlotte on Lake Wiley. So I've done a bunch of multifamily and different types of real estate. So I'm here for you. I'm looking forward to working with anyone and everyone that wants to be successful. So I'm here for you guys. And now I'm going to stop talking. And if anybody has questions, feel free to type them into the chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer. I don't know if we're done. I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
All right, let's unmute those mics. If you have questions, or you can just drop it in the chat. Raise your hand, type, or you can just unmute as long as you got a question. This is your chance. I mean, this is a great opportunity to talk to a multimillionaire who's done any kind of deal you can think of. If you've got a question, you will regret not asking it.
Yep. Anything about markets, about mindset, goal setting, what we talked about? I
saw Sharon raise her hand. I saw Ryan raise it first, but ladies first.
Ryan first.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, no, I guess, my question is, if you're like newer to investing and you're deciding between, class A, B, C, or D, is there a rule of thumb to that? Do you start at B or do you start at C, or does it really, I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Sure. Well, I wouldn't start in the D area, right? Because that's very heavy dealing one-on-one with people, and not the how can I put it in a politically correct way? Not the creme de la creme of society. Let's put it that way, right? A good place to start is doing your C's and B's, because the C's and B's will have that extra value add, right? When you're doing an A property, you're not really going to go and have a lot of value add because the property is new. There's nothing to renovate. There's nothing, so it's just pushing the rents organically as you go along. C's and B's, as in boy, you're going to go in. There's probably poor management. You're probably going to find mom and pop that owned it, another syndicator that ran through their business model or failed running through their business model. And you have upside in renovating the units, renovating the exterior, and pushing those rents up. Now, I will say this. There's these things called repositionings, right? Where you're taking a C class or a B class and you're turning them into an A class property. Or you're going to evict everybody and renovate the entire property. Please, if this is your first multi, your second multi, or even your third multifamily, do not do repositionings. They take a long time. They will probably take way longer than you expect. You will not have cash flow. Your investors will be pissed off. You will probably never do another deal again, and you go back into your JOB. So don't do that, right? Start off B's and C properties. Know your market really well. Know your competition. Know how many people are coming in, how many more multifamilies are being built in that market. Who are your renters? Who are your buyers going to be? What your exit strategy is going to be? Really have your plan really laid out month by month by month. And this is what I work with in my coaching program is we go in and we dive in and I show you how to analyze a 100-unit property if you're going to renovate it, even a 10-unit property. Because let's say next month, let's say you buy a property today. And next month you own it and you've got 3 units that are, or 5 units that are expiring. How many units are you going to renovate versus how many units you're just going to turn and lease? What is going to be your upside in those leases that you're just turning? And what's going to be your upside in those units that you're going to renovate? And then the next month, well, the units that you renovated, you're not renovating, you're still collecting rent, but then you've got, right? So you've got more inventory. So you've got to really understand those intricacies and those metrics so that you can be successful. Because when you're going out there and raising capital from investors, you need to look like you know what you're doing. You need to know the market like the back of your hand. You got to answer all the questions about your business model, right? Your underwriting model. So you got to have all of those metrics put in place. Does that make sense?
Makes a ton of sense. Thank you.
Awesome. What else we got?
Darren, you're up.
Yeah, wow, that was rich information. I want to thank you for sharing that. Very complicated, and you definitely need to have somebody by your side when you're doing a large multi. Just to add on to that, would that apply to, say, 3 families or 4 family units with the information that you gave, or that's really for truly commercials, 5 or more and above?
Finding the right market is for any type of real estate. For any type of real estate, you can what I'm showing you, you can do for a triplex, duplex, 10-unit, 20-unit, and so forth. So yeah, so you can do that with any type of property. Absolutely.
Fabulous, thank you. Also, in regards to getting the right market, you're being new. You basically want to have the neighborhood and or the property to be B or C. But in regards to getting money and funds in regards to using OPM for this. Do you need to have everything all written out before you ask folks, or you just, if you're buying like a 3-family or 4-family or a single family that you're going to do a subject to, what would you suggest in regards to getting OPM?
Okay, so that's great. So OPM, right? So like Walter said, right, in the beginning, you got people have to know you, like you, and trust you, right? They're not going to invest with you because of the awesome curtains the property's at, or the awesome returns that you're going to give them, because a property's a property. That can, they can do it with anybody. They will invest because of you. Now, should you have anything in writing? Well, look, the gentleman that I just went to open the door for, he's one of my business partners, right? And we're doing a 92 or 96 unit hotel conversion to multifamily. So our due diligence is finishing up in the next couple of days. I went and I spoke to my investors, and I got them on a call like this. And I said, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing. We don't have any numbers yet. We don't have anything. This is the opportunity. This is what we're looking for. This is what we're doing. And I just planted the seed in their mind. Right? And I said, as soon as we get the underwriting and as soon as we have our property package together, I'm going to present it to you. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. I said, is this something that you think right off the bat you would like to be a part of? Like, oh, absolutely. If the numbers make sense and if everything works out, we're in. Right? So that's one way. Now, to raise capital, it's all about building relationships. Build relationships with people, get to know them, get to know what their fears are, their desires, their likes, their wants, their needs, all of that. And then present to them the opportunity in a language that they would grasp and understand. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Nitzam, I'm getting text, a couple of questions. I want to kind of sum it up in just one long question, I guess. No, as president of the REIA, I'd probably say 65% of the people in our membership are new. And so there's a mindset of fear getting started or picking a correct strategy. I don't think where do I get the money is really an issue anymore, because I have never seen so much money in the market at this time than ever in the last 10 years. There's just so much money out there. So that's really not an excuse. So I'm trying to interpret why people aren't doing anything. And you mentioned some words of manifestation, mindset, and I think a lot of people have fear going into this real estate investing as much as they have desire. So could you make any comments on that? And I know there's a lot more people who are going after multifamily prior to getting into single family investing. Some people saying fix and flips, BRRRR method and all that. But I think in the end game to all real estate investors is multifamily investing. So, I always think with the end in mind, as if you read that book, the 5 Successful Habits, think with the end in mind. Can you comment on that? That's so for the new person, because also, a coaching problem is a big investment for people. Sure. So they want to ensure that they're off on the right track.
Absolutely. That's a great thing. And a lot of people, there's fear of failure, but there's also fear of success. And there's just fear of the unknown, right? A lot of times people won't get into something because, well, if I fail, I'm going to be embarrassed in front of my peers. I don't want to lose money. I don't want to do this. We all have fears. Are you kidding me? My partner right here, Charles, they were closing on a deal. A week before closing, they had to come up with an extra $2 million because the lender screwed up. Their money's hard. They were ready to close. Suddenly the lender said, no, you need an extra $2 million because of blah, 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 blah. You think there's a lot of fear and anxiety and angst and stress? Absolutely. That doesn't go away. Fear is a good thing. If we understand our minds and understand nature and understand what fear is, right? Fear is something to make us move forward with caution. It's not there to freeze us in our place. So if you're afraid, That's awesome. That means that your spidey senses are tingling right now, and it's saying, tread lightly. Let's get all the information first. Let's make sure we understand. Let's make sure we know, right? So yes, there's fear, and fear is a good thing. Don't let fear paralyze you from being successful. However, when you're getting into multifamily, there's a lot of moving parts. So how do you minimize or reduce that fear? By doing what we're doing right now. Networking with people that are in the business that have done it. Finding mentors like Walter and like you and the REIA, right? Doing all of that. Engulfing yourself. Getting educated. Reading books. Going on YouTube. Go to conferences. Like I said, I'm at a conference right now, right? We actually should be down at the bar networking. Okay? So engulf yourself with people that have done it, that are doing it, that you know, like, and trust, and that have a good track record. Okay? Fear can hold you. And one of my clients, we were talking about fear and all this, and I asked them, and I'm going to ask you guys also, what do you think is the most expensive piece of dirt on the face of the earth?
I got the answer.
Your
Go ahead.
grave?
The graveyard?
Why?
Because all the best ideas are there.
Because how
Yes.
many people have died with their dreams and their passions and their inventions and their hopes and their speeches because they were afraid to take action? Right? Don't be that person that when you're on your deathbed, you go, I was too afraid. Should have done it. What's the worst that could happen? You make a mistake? Okay, you make a mistake. You learn, you grow, you move. Just have a partner, have a mentor that can help you minimize those mistakes and those errors. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I signed a letter of intent to sell my property, and that was a mistake. You know why? Because the next day, I got another LOI for $1 million more, but I'm already stuck with this LOI. We make mistakes. We make mistakes. You got to have big enough shoulders to take those mistakes on and say, you know what? Yes, hey, I should have maybe taken a little bit slower. Maybe I should have read that line, 3 times and not read it twice. Maybe I would have understood it. So yeah, fear is there. How do you reduce that fear? By getting educated, by having a team of people that are successful, that can help you, that can guide you, a mentor that is already doing it, that is doing it. That's how you can get it, right? And when you're manifesting, when you're creating, when you're really visualizing everything with smell, taste, touch, feel everything, the fear kind of subsides because now you've got your vision crystallized and everything is moving forward, right? And now the universe is coming to you and saying, well, if you're that focused and you're moving in that direction, I better help you. I better put in front of you people that are going to help you achieve success. So that's how I work with fear. Is that good? Right? So what do we know that fear stands for, right? There's multiple, right? Forget everything and run, false evidence appearing real, right? All those, it's just fear, right? There's a great saying, the anticipation of death is worse than death itself. Fear is the anticipation of death. You can't do anything about it. We all end up in the same place. So why worry about it? Why focus your energy somewhere else? And if you're afraid, that means that you probably aren't educated well enough. So go get educated. And you're in the right place to get educated. What else?
Is this valuable? Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting something from this? Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Michael, I see your hand up.
Hi. Yes, thanks, Nitzam, for doing this today. Very valuable. So right now, I'm an analyst at Arbor Realty Trust. I'm not sure if you use them to finance.
Arbor. Arbor. They were the one that came to us and to my partner and said, sorry, you need another $2 million.
Classic. That wasn't me, by the way. But anyways, so I'm going to view a property on Saturday. And I just graduated in May, so I don't have enough capital to fund this deal by myself. So I have a couple investors in my back pocket. If the deal's right, to make an offer and to invest in. What's your biggest piece of advice going into seeing this property and being able to communicate with these investors to see if it's the right fit? I'm pretty comfortable of underwriting and analyzing, crunching these numbers, and I'm getting a pretty good return on multiple scenarios that I ran. Like I asked, what is your best piece of advice for going into this so I can present to these investors?
Make sure you know your shit backwards and sideways. Excuse my language. I hope I didn't, sorry. Know your stuff backwards and sideways, inside and out. Okay? Know your information, know your market, know your cap rates, know your rent, what you're going to achieve, know your going in cap rate, your exit cap rate, how long you're going to hold it for, what kind of debt you're looking to put on it, right? All the boring information, make sure you know that 100%, right? What the market is, what's going on, why you're buying in that market. Now, when you're talking to them, you want to feel them out first and ask them questions, right? And maybe you've done this already, and if you haven't, talk to them. So what kind of investments do you like? Are you more on are you a Coca-Cola person, or are you a Bitcoin day one kind of person, right? Are you that kind of person that loves this kind of ride? Or do you just want a Coca-Cola for the next 20 years and let it ride, right? Because everybody has different needs, desires, fears, right? Someone like me, 52 years old, 2 kids in high school, they're going to go to college. My fears, desires, needs are completely different than yours, Michael, right? So if I come to you and I talk to you about generational wealth and longevity and blah, blah, you're going to be like, dude, the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? That was a New Yorker in me. I apologize. Sorry. What are you talking about? You're going to be like, what are you talking about? Right? But if you come to me and you say, listen, this is a great investment opportunity that we're going to hold on to, and it's going to create passive income for you. You can leave it to your children. You can do, right? You're talking my language now. So you got to find out what language your investors want you to speak to them in, and then present it to them that way.
Okay.
Right? When I send out my property package, I upload it to a software. It's called DocSend, DocSend. So I take my investment summary, which has everything in it: the market, why we like the property, the income, expenses, what we're going to do to it, pictures, right? Everything. It's all in there. I upload that to DocSend, and then I send my investors the link, not the PDF, the link. They click on the link. I get an email. Michael just clicked on Sailwind Properties investment. So I'm like, oh, okay, so Michael read it. But what it also tells me, it says, Michael skipped over the first 5 pages and went directly to the numbers and spent 1.5 minutes on the underwriting. Okay, so now I know when I'm talking to you, Michael, I'm not going to talk to you about the fluff, because you're not interested in the fluff. You're interested in the hardcore numbers. Talk to me numbers. However, I have another investor who's like, yeah, the numbers will look good, but I want to see the property. I want to see the location. I want to see, I want to hear the story. I want to read about the team that's involved. So using that link, I know what pages they stopped on, and now I can go and talk and say, hey, Walter, listen, it's in Greensboro. It's right by the interstate. It's got this, it's got that, it's got blah, 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 blah. I'm going to talk to him about what he wants to know. I'm not going to shove the information, what I think he wants to know, in his face. Because they're like, I didn't, he doesn't get me. Nitzam doesn't understand me. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. I've going off that, just another quick question. How's a good way to structure it where I get a little bit of a percentage in this deal, basically just coming to them, finding it, analyzing it, and most likely managing it myself, since it's only like a duplex and it's a local spot near me?
So you can do a JV, which is a joint venture,
right?
So basically it's you and the other investors, and you create an LLC, and then you create an operating agreement, which says Michael owns 20%, and then Walter and Duncan each own 40%. Michael has day-to-day responsibilities and authority, while Walter and Duncan have no say except for when to sell the property. for example. And the distributions will go 20% to Michael, 40% to Gualtar, 40% to Duncan, after all expenses are paid and blah, 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 right? That's kind of how you can do it that way, right? JV, simple, create an operating agreement, figure out what everybody wants to do, percentage and all that. And why do I do multifamily? Shh, I'm going to tell you a secret right now. There's this thing called acquisition fee. Has anybody put your hand by the camera? Who's heard of an acquisition fee? What an acquisition fee is? I love acquisition fees. Acquisition fee is the fee that you get for putting the deal together. You get paid at closing, right? So if you're doing a $10 million deal, right? Or let's say you're doing a $500,000 deal and you're getting a 5% acquisition fee, you made $25,000 just for bringing the deal together. Forget about your percentage, forget about your cash flow, forget about your equity stake. Just for bringing the deal together, you get an acquisition fee. How awesome is that? I love my acquisition fees. And then there's this other thing it's called a disposition fee. When you go to dispose of the asset, guess what, Michael? You get another point for disposing the property because you did such a great job renovating it, managing it, upjacking the rents. Now you're selling it. Your investors are making a crap load of money. Hey, you know what? I deserve 1 point from the purchase price, the new purchase price. So if you bought it for $500 and you're selling it for $800, you're going to get 1% of that $800,000 as a disposition fee. Not bad. Plus your cash flow and your equity, right?
You're going to do the work anyway, right?
You're going to do the work. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Awesome question.
Thank you.
And then you can also charge an asset management fee if the deal is able to if it has enough meat on the bone, right, to where you can still give your investors a good return, right? You can also charge an asset management fee for managing the asset, managing the manager, making sure the job gets done right, make sure this. There's also an asset management fee. Absolutely. Absolutely. My partners, they always ask me, Nitzam, how come your distribution is always bigger than ours? I said, because I do the asset management, so I get the asset management fee. You don't. Be lucky. Say thank you. Every quarter you get a check, and then you ask me a bunch of questions. But you don't see the day-to-day. Every week I'm on my management call with my property managers. I fly up to the properties. I talk to vendors. I talk to investors. I look at the financials. I create the quarterly investor calls. I send out the financials to everyone. There's a lot of work. I got to get paid for it. Yes?
Janice, I believe I saw your hand up. Was that right?
No question. I was just agreeing with Nitzam.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's give Mike a round of applause. That was a great question. And Jerry, I see your hand up. And Nitzam, let me know when you want to stop. I know you got to get downstairs and network as well.
We got 5 more minutes, all right? And then, I got to go network.
Oh, okay. I have a quick question. I'm new to all this, and I think I learned a lot from your presentation. I have a question about the market cycles. I was wondering, like when the market gets to the SM2 level, does it stay there all the time, or does it take like I don't know, a catastrophe for it to go back down?
Right. So the SM2 will continue to go up until market crashes, until something happens, right? So, and nobody knows when that will be, right?
Okay.
Nobody has a crystal ball that can say, oh, you know what? March 27th of 2023 at 9 p.m., market's going to crash. I wish it was that good, right? I wish we had that kind of visualization, but you don't. That's why when you're in that seller's market phase 2, you really want to make sure that you're buying a property that either you're going to flip and flip it quickly, or that you're going to underwrite it and say, you know what, even if the market tanks, we will still be able to rent the units out and cover our monthly expenses, mortgage, interest, taxes, operating expenses, and we can ride that wave out, right? So you got to learn. It will not stay in the market. For example, in 2008, I mean, the market was ridiculous, right? And what happened? It went down. It tanked. It went really far, right? So that's why it's really important to understand those market cycles and what they look like and the different strategies going in or out and understanding them.
Awesome.
Did I
Jerry,
answer
did
your
that help?
question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Give me let's go, because I don't think I answered your question. I don't think you're satisfied with my answer.
I mean, I think my follow-up question, you kind of already answered it. I was gonna ask if like we should think that at some point in the future, all markets around the country will be more or less in the SM2 phase, and at that point, would we only have like one investment strategy, like which is like you just said, flip or rent and hope to like get the money back?
Yeah, when you're in SM2, you want to, you're buying a property at the height of the market. You want to make sure that you can get rid of it quickly or hold on to it for a long time if you have to, right? So you have to figure out what kind of debt you're going to put on it, short-term or long-term debt, what your play is, and you got to make sure that you have all your team lined up and your money ready to make those renovations and bring it to market.
I see.
So there's a good book by my mentor, David Lindahl. I think it's called Emerging Market Cycles or something of that nature. Read it. It goes in depth into what we just talked about.
I see.
Awesome questions. Let's give Jerry a round of applause. I see Elvis has one question. So Elvis, we only got a few minutes. Make it very quick, my friend.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to ask, due to COVID pandemic, I think the whole market correction got screwed up, which we were supposed to have it a year or so ago, if you're looking at the history. But do you think it's going to still happen, or is the COVID pandemic is the correction, and this is sort of like the new base, sort of where the market's going to continue to rise for another maybe 7 to 10 years, and then it's going to correct again? Because
I don't think it's going to rise for another 7 to 10 years. Rent can't go that high. People will be homeless.
Well, rise like a cash cow, not like a rising star. You know what I mean? Like still continue to rise instead of. So what I'm saying is, are you anticipating a market correction within, a couple of years, or is this more of like a long term?
Yeah, I'm looking for a market correction very soon. Next year or two. I think the Feds raised the interest rates, right? They just raised interest rates. I think they said they're gonna do it 2 or 3 times this year, right? So 4 times. So interest rates are gonna go up 4 times this year. Who knows the answer to this? When interest rates go up, what else goes up? Cap rates.
Cap rates.
Cap rates.
Yep.
Right? Remember that metric that we decide what is an expensive property, what is a decent property that's cash flowing, and what is a very cheap property? So when interest rates go up, that means cap rates go up. That means that properties start to become cheaper.
Yeah.
Properties start to become cheaper. More people are going to want to buy, right? But mortgages, the interest rates are going to go up. So there's a big correlation there. So you got to be careful with that. And as soon as the Fed stops printing money the way they've been doing, that house of cards is going to come tumbling down. Now, how many of you seen? I'm actually getting this type of loan on my Airbnb, on my short-term rental that I'm buying in Northwest Arkansas. No doc loan. Right?
Nope.
Is that a deja vu? Have people not learned from history? That's what took the market down in 2008. People are getting loans that they don't have to prove that they're making any money. And then Wall Street is packaging these defaulted notes, selling them as Class A product. People are buying them. Then everything just falls out from under it. So we're right there, man. No doc loans are hitting hard, hitting back hard, and they're coming back. So be careful. Be careful. Remember, when there's blood on the streets, take care. When people are fearful, be greedy. When they're greedy, be fearful. And people are greedy AF today. So watch out. All right. Guys, thank you so much. I got to go. I got to run. We got to do some networking. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I look forward. If anybody wants to reach out and whatnot, Walter will give you my contact info if you want to join the coaching and whatnot. I'll be more than happy to bring you guys on and work with you one-on-one. It's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are in great hands with Walter and Duncan and the whole staff. Definitely reach out to them and, hit it out of the park. I'll see you guys at the top. Be well and happy hunting.
Let's give Nitzam a round of applause. Amazing, amazing training.
Thank you, Nitzam. Thank you
Such
so
a valuable
much.
lesson. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
You got it.
Cheers.
Appreciate you as well, man. See you soon.
See
Bye,
you
guys.
soon. So we'll stay on for a few minutes. Any questions about what Nitzam's program has? Any questions about the market, real estate? We are going to jump off quickly, but I want to make sure that, like we do every week, if there's any questions about the membership or the mentorship, this is your chance to ask. I know that right now you got a lot of information. Hands to the camera if you got a lot of information that has your brain thinking. Your brain's going, oh man, what should I do? What should I do? These were great questions. Who got some value from the questions that were answered? Awesome. You're in
Walter?
the right mindset. Go ahead, Kelly.
Just one thing, everybody, before we log out, make sure that you copy and paste this chat because there's a lot of information in there for you to help you.
Absolutely. The chat is the 3 little buttons at the bottom right. Hit those buttons. You'll see the download button. Hit it. All yours.
Yes.
And yeah, where is it?
That's the networking. That's virtual networking.
Yep. That's exactly how the virtual networking works. Remember the wants, needs, asks earlier? A good opportunity is to go back through that list and contact those people. They put their contact information, find out what they're looking for. And if you're looking to build a mastermind, the names in this list, the contact information there, that's a lot of value as well. And my business partner says, I got to get me one of those no doc loans. Bro, I know Don Crummett was peddling those with us the other day, and same with Jim Fogarty. So we got access to the no doc loans. So ladies and gentlemen, questions, comments, ahas, things you learned or took away from today. We'll stay on for just a few more minutes. Now, Janice, I see your hand up. Is that a real hand up?
Yeah, that's a real hand. It's a hand and a hand. Thanks, Walter. Great meeting. As you can see, I'm from San Diego, but I am in Boston. Can you tell by the colonial decor here in the old house in Milton? Thank you so much. Wish I could have seen you guys in Dedham, but maybe next time. Question, is anyone here doing short-term rentals? And I'd love to connect with people on that. I do have a house in Milton, this one, that I want to get going in that market. I see that your price-wise, your market is so close to San Diego. I was like, oh, I get it. Very, very high prices and meeting people who are saying, I can't buy a house close. I got to go like to Brockton or something.
Yeah, Janice, shoot me a message.
So if anybody connect with me in the chat, if you type things in a 4-bedroom house. Go ahead. Oh, I put my email in the chat. I can't copy it. When you're on an iPad, it doesn't copy. I think it copies really well on my desktop. But
so I dropped my cell
shoot
phone.
me a message. Janice at energywiseproperties.com.
I dropped my cell phone in the chat. You can just shoot me a text. I don't do
Okay,
email,
great.
but if you text me, I'll respond
Thank
back. I
you
have
guys. A great meeting and
awesome. Thank you, Janice.
All right, Walter, well, let's say goodnight.
Awesome.
I'll get this out
yeah,
recorded.
because some people they're looking for maybe even a manager who wants to manage. Thank you so much. Bye.
Absolutely. Have a good night. So for everybody who is a member of the Boston REIA, you will be getting an email from Duncan. Keep your eyes open for it. Duncan, Weirman, and Kelly and Hannah. Let's give them a round of applause as well as Sarah Ibram. Thank you for all of the support you do for us to keep these things going. Ladies and gentlemen, cheers to your success. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.